just cry. You can't get back. Take it back. Take it back. Take it back. We said cat in a hat. You smile. I just cry. Can't get back. Take it back. Hey, wait a minute, Fox, you wanna bring it on? Are you tired yet? Are you ready to quit? Why do you want some more? Even though you know zone 3 ain't working. Want some more? Zone 3 ain't working. We're gonna hook you up, baby. Wait a minute. Malamar, do he want some more? You so you want some more? Now, are you sure? Do he want some more? No cross the drama. He wants some more. Now, are you sure? Do you want some more? Wait a minute. Look at this. It's a hard knock. Wow. Leave the bass right there, baby. Don't move it. Don't move that zone 3, baby. It's a hard knock. They go knock at your door. I'll be back there again. Do for Big Ronnie, Melon Mob, and Sunset. Hey, it's a hard knock. You with me, skip it. Skip it. Skip the loop to that beat, baby. A worker, till you find the free. Hey, earthquake. Bird farm. So what? Do for Big James. I drop it on the low. It's a hard knock. So I sit in the street there. Take your time, baby. It's a hard knock. So 1, 2. I'll drop the bass, drop the bass. So what? Yeah. A chicken. Yeah. What you gonna do, Malamar? Big Ronnie. Hey, Skip. Put it in the pocket. It's a hard knock. Come on, man. I see the treaty. I see the kisses. It's a hard knock. It's a hard knock. I see the treaty. And look at here, break it down. We're standing on the corner spot. You drive with some of the hottest cars you smokers ever seen. But dropping some of the hottest, freshest rappers ever heard. From the dope spot with the smoke out, knocking them murder scenes. You know me went from nightmares of a lonely cell. My only help but since when I niggas over the girl. Fuck now, we're all my niggas the rubber grips. Shot, and if you want me, mama, rub your tits. I won't not. I'm from the school of the hard knocks. We must not say outside us while you in our block. In my block, I sick of the world and split 50-50. And take the door and say real tricky. I said the fish again, kissy. Don't forget me like the memory of my nigga. Baby, you know what's hell when I come through. Life a time of Sean Carter, he come right you too. You see you ready. Come on. I see the treaty. I see the kisses. Ladies, it's hard knock. So I'm not dying for us. Now look at here. They say, can we take you on back now? Or can we take you on back, y'all? Or can I take you on back, y'all?
Take us on back.
Can I take you on back to the railroad track? Can I take you on back now?
Take us on back.
Can I take you on back now?
Take us on back.
Can I take you on back now?
Take us on back.
Wait a minute. Are y'all singing the perfect song? You get your back up against the wall. Oh, do it. Oh, get it.
La 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 la, Shana. Oh, Shana. All right. Like Lucy. said that'll work. I said I am the king of my castle. I don't take no hassle. I can ride the tide till I decide to slide, and that'll work. Oh, we're gonna make it work. Special dedication going out to Shug and Mickey, Paradise Crew. A nice crew in the house to groove with you. Shug, give him a hug. That'll work. I got a new song I'm gonna do right here. But first we're gonna do this one right here. I know rapper can rap quite like I can. I take a hustle-bound man and put his face in the sand. Not the last mafioso, I'm the MT cop. Make you go say BB and do the wop. Now if you think you can around me, your boy I'll bet. Cause I ain't met another brother who can do that yet. Trendsetter, I'm better. My rhymes are good. I got a gold name plate that says I wish you would. When the battle begins, now I got to join in. And before my rhyme is over, you know I'm gonna win. CB has arrived, so you better make way. That's anybody in the crowd that say the kid don't play. Destroy competition, that's my hobby and job. I don't wear disguise because I told them I got a pinpoint rap that makes you feel trapped. So many girls on my job, I fake my phony attack. I'm like Tyson, I'm a soldier at war, making sure you don't try to battle me no more. Got concrete rhymes, been rapping for 20 years, and even when I'm bragging, I'm being sincere. MCs can't win, I make them rush like 10. They call me Jaws, my heart is like a shark's fin. Because I'm bad as can be, I got my voice on wax. Some brothers think he's making records, well they must have relaxed. Well I couldn't, and it'll stay that way. The best rapper you've heard in the USA. Kamikaze, take a look at what I've done. Used to rock in my bass, but now I'm number one. Get on time, never standing on line. You wanna try me? First you better learn how to rhyme, cause I'm the beautiful. That means I reign supreme, and I'm joyous. I crush you like a jelly bean. I'm back. I'm devastated, I'm so good as a shame. Cause I eat rappers like a piano, they call me insane. I'm as strong as a fool, of course you know how to pull. I enjoy what I'm doing, plus I'm paid in full. Now the doctor who rhymes out, but busting out ass out. See the comes and I'm the liquor teeth with your eyes out. Living with time, I put my mic on the shelf. The baddest rapper in the city of rap itself. Not bitter or mad, just proving I'm bad. You wanna give me an hour plus a minute of pad. See, cause they know I can beat them and eat them in a battle, and the rep won't cheat them, cause I'm bad as y'all. Thinking I outlook them, so forget Oreo. How you like me now? I can continue with more on the menu, but I'm the last cause so far. You overstop, I know you overstop. No fuss and fight, just keep it tight, and that'll work. Oh, that'll work. That'll work. Now when you hit that pipe, you don't want to eat, you lose all your weight. and all your sleep. Your money disappears just like a jet. You weigh less than 100 pounds soaking wet. Now let's get to the point. All I'm trying to say is throw your toilet, your pipe, and your rock away. I said get to the point. All I'm trying to say, throw your toilet, your pipe, and your rock away. And that'll work. That'll work. Will that work, y'all? That'll work, y'all. Will that work? That'll work. Oh, we're gonna make it work. Now, make it work. We got Big Brother Sam, he came to jam. A Big Smitty from Chocolate City. Bingo, bingo, Bino, soup bone, on the bone. Bing, and bing the shot. Party to dawn. Yvette ain't got started yet. We got Sweet Yvette and Bunny. Bunny, honey, with the money. Ain't nothing funny. This is the hold up. This is the hold up. Stop smiling. Ain't nothing funny. I don't want to see nothing move but the money. Earning, beef, and getting nailed. Coming in the house tonight to do it right. Stop smiling. Ain't nothing funny. I don't want to see nothing move but the money. Stop smiling. Stop laughing. Ain't nothing funny, because I don't want to see nothing move but the money. Oh, look who I see, big chick, in the house, with some brand new chicks. Every time I see him, he got new ones. Big brother head, he ain't scared. Also, man, me, money making, shorty B, 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 he's gonna give the beat, grin, I know how to blend, all you got to do is just tell him when, he can do it again and again and again.
Hi, this is Chris Hedges, and when I'm in Washington, I don't want my news filtered through corporate sponsors. I want to hear the truth, which is why I listen to DC's only independent radio station, We Act Radio, 1480 AM, WPWC, Washington's progressive working community. We Act Radio, do something.
You're listening to We Act Radio, WPWC 1480 AM. Visit us online at weactradio.com.
Hi, Grandpa. I'm calling from my new phone that I got for Christmas. It's an iPhone. I love you, and you're the first person I called. I love you. Bye.
Hey, Rock, it's Vince Gray calling. Listen, I wanted to congratulate you, first of all, on your new show. Secondly, I want to welcome you back to the city. You've been gone too long. We're absolutely delighted to have you back in our nation's capital. And thirdly, I want to wish you a happy birthday. I know, Rock, that this show is going to be very successful. There are people that are talking about it all over town. And we absolutely wish you the best. I looked at the lineup of folks that you're going to have or having on the show, on Saturday, and what a great lineup. And certainly is a testament to the impact that you've made not only in the city, but the impact you've made on our country. The enormous respect that you have in this city and across this nation. So I wish I could be there with you today, and I hope that I have an opportunity to come on the show at the earliest opportunity. I wish I were there for the launching of it, because there'll never be a first time again. So once again, congratulations. Welcome back to your hometown. Happy birthday. And I know it'll be an absolutely great show today. Talk to you soon.
Hey, this is Leprechaun Tim Pohanka from Pohanka Nissan and Pohanka Hyundai. It's hard to be down on your luck when you're Virginia's first choice for new Nissan and Hyundais, but I need to sell 60 cars this week. Right now, I'll pay you big bucks for your good luck. Bring down any good luck charm you've got, and based on the sale price of the car you choose, I'll give you up to $4,777 off any nicer, newer car this week. Today, your lucky penny is worth plenty, up to $4,777 off any nicer, newer car you want. Stop moping and hoping you'll get approved. With my For the People credit approval process, the banks are looking to get lucky and lend to you, even if you've been turned down before. Bring me any good luck charm and I'll give you up to $4,777 off any nicer, newer car today. Hurry, once I get rid of 60 cars, the luck runs out. All offers require bank approval, so call us at 1-800-POHANKA, visit Pohanka Nissan and Pohanka Hyundai on Route 1 in Fredericksburg, or better yet, log on to timpohankaforthepeople.com. And when we make a deal, I promise it'll be your lucky day. I'm Tim Pohanka, and I'm a leprechaun for the people.
Solid as a rock.
He's cared for the famine victims in Somalia. Bought back 3,000 guns to confront violence in D.C.
Something about what God is using him to do with us.
We will rock you. Rock with you. I wanna rock right now. Rock steady, baby.
Registered numerous people to vote. It's evident that he cares. What do you care about? Welcome to the Rock Newman Show. It's the Rock Newman Show.
And good morning, Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia. And just a spectacular morning it is. I got up over in Oxon Hill, Maryland this morning at National Harbor, looked out the window, and man, what a spectacular sunrise. Coming up over the Potomac, it's good to be here with you on March the 23rd, 2013. We have a great show for you today. Certainly, we're keeping with our mission of variety. And in the first hour today, it's all you ever wanted to know about the automotive industry. And we have experts extraordinaire that are joining us this morning. That's from 9 to 10. Everything you ever wanted to know about the automotive industry. And those of you who are listening, who might not have seen my Facebook post, if you are in studio this morning and you are interested in buying a car, and buy a car from the Pohanka family of cars between now and the 31st of March, you will be eligible to receive from the Rock Newman Show a $1,000 cash disbursement to help you purchase your automobile if it happens between now and the end of March. So if you're on your way, come on in. If you want that $1,000, if you're looking to purchase a car, make sure you do that. Make sure you show up here. That's the first hour. The second hour, Mayor Vincent Gray. Mayor Gray will be in studio with us for an entire hour. We will talk about all things Washington, D.C. He will be taking your calls. We will be taking your calls in this hour, in the second hour, and in the third hour. And you can call in and join us by dialing 202-889-9797. And in the third hour, I'm calling that hour Three Wise Men. In studio will be a gentleman who was at the zenith of his career with Major League Baseball. He oversaw all baseball operations from the commissioner's office. His name is Jimmy Lee Solomon. He's had an absolutely storied career. And joining us by phone will be Kerry Davis. He is Executive Vice President for Sports Acquisitions and Programming at HBO. And for those of you mothers and fathers who have teenage kids who might be looking at something else, I'd urge you to get your kids in front of the live streaming computer that you're watching this show on. Make sure they listen on the radio, because we want to give an example here in all of these hours as to what kids might aspire to other than just playing the game, other than just being in the boxing ring, other than just being on the football field or the basketball court. And as I title that hour, Three Rise Men, these are gentlemen who have risen to the top of their profession surrounding sports, very involved in sports, very influential in sports, but not necessarily having at all wasted their time, spending all their time on the field. They do things beyond that. And I want to introduce you and your family and your young kids to those kinds of things. But to the matter at hand, all you ever wanted to know about the automotive industry, I have in studio with me two very dear long-term friends. I have to my left, Scott Crabtree. Scott, welcome to the Rock Newman Show.
Thank you, Rock. Pleasure to be here.
To my right is Jeff Pohanka. And I'm sure you recognize that Pohanka name. Jeff, welcome to the Rock Newman Show.
Rock.
All right.
Good to be here.
You know, there's so much to talk about and so little time. So let me jump right in. And certainly we're going to talk about buying and selling and financing and credit and why it's a great time to buy cars and that sort of thing. But before I do that, I have very passionately spoken of the Pohanka family being an advertiser on my program, and it being much more than an advertiser program relationship, that there is a relationship that goes back 40 years. I became fascinated with the Pohanka group in my teens when I saw something that I thought was very groundbreaking. There's two things I want to introduce this with that was groundbreaking. One, I looked up one day and saw a commercial, and there was an African American doing a commercial for Pohanka. His name was Lee Elder, who had risen in stature as a golfer at the time, and right around the '68 time period after the riots and Martin Luther King was killed and Bobby Kennedy, and to see this figure, I thought was something very inspiring. And it showed me at an early age sort of good corporate citizenship, one, and then something much more recently that I am aware of, and I hope this doesn't embarrass you, Jeff, but I'm going there. I'm intimately aware that you and the Pohanka organization had an opportunity to go to Miami, Florida, with a high-end Lexus and Acura dealership situation, as I understand it, and you had a choice between going there with the high-end, automotive situation, and you had a chance to go to Prince George's County. And there are people that might have asked you, have you bumped your head? Because you chose Prince George's County over Miami, Florida. Tell us about that.
Well, our family goes back in D.C. a long ways. My grandfather grew up in the Bronx, and he ran away from home in 8th grade, and he got a job on a horse farm. He was a stable boy, slept in the stable with the horses, and someone saw something in this young man, and he became a jockey, and a very good jockey. He raced all the United States and Canada. Eventually, he couldn't keep weight. Had to go into another business. He was good with his hands. He said, I want to become an auto mechanic. And this is back in like 1908, 1910. Cars were kind of new. Read every book there was about cars. Became a mechanic. Got hired in a shop. Got hired by General Motors, and they moved him to Washington, D.C. He ended up becoming an auto dealer here in downtown Washington, D.C. in 1919. And our roots are here. I was born in the district in the city of Washington, and I've lived here all my life, and it's hard to uproot and go someplace else. So my father moved the business from 20th Street downtown. It was an old Civil War era livery stable and movie theater. Movie theater was the showroom. Moved to Marlow Heights, Maryland. which actually was a rocking place at the time. I mean, this is where the biggest mall was in Washington. There was no Tyson's Corner at that point.
Yeah, Iverson Mall.
The big dealers were there, and,
Right.
and we rocked and rolled for a lot of years. Sold Oldsmobile, had picked up Honda, had Fiat for a while, and then the area changed, and we grew in other areas in Chantilly with Acura and Lexus and Fredericksburg, acquired dealerships out in Salisbury. But we had these legacy stores in Prince George's County in an area that wasn't the right areas. And I tell people it was time to move back in the 60s to the suburbs because there was no room in downtown, for an auto dealership.
Sure.
It's time to move again. So where were we going to move to? And there was an opportunity, because you only go so far with a factory. You have an area responsibility. You have to stay within that area. And there was a place near FedEx Field, Capitol Heights. When they built FedEx Field, they spent a lot of infrastructure money, built some new roads. They put a new intersection in exit 13 on the Beltway. And there was a space there. The Michael companies bought a space for retail development. Took me 7 years, the factory, and everybody to agree that would work, the zoning. And then the question is, do I want to spend $35 million here in Prince George's County or not? Is this the promised land? Can I make it work? And there was a lot of soul searching on that, and a lot of work that I had to do to try to make that happen, and get involved more in the county to create an environment where businesses can thrive, that people can live. And one area I'm particularly proud of is auto thefts. Auto thefts were an epidemic problem in Prince George's County.
Jeff, we certainly want to talk about that. We definitely want to talk about that.
But my heart's here, and my efforts are here in the city. I feel rooted here, and Washington's a great city to be in.
And I want my listeners, I want those of you in the metropolitan Washington area to just simply be aware of that great, not just good, but great corporate citizenship. I understand now that we have our third guest on the line, and that is Sandy Fitzgerald. Sandy is joining us from the eastern shore of Maryland. The Pohanka conglomerate is spreading and spreading, and Sandy Fitzgerald represents Pohanka and has ownership interest in the Mercedes, in Honda, I know, in Nissan and Toyota. Is that correct, Sandy Fitzgerald?
Absolutely, Rock.
Welcome to the Rock Newman Show.
Thank you.
Okay. Those of you, again, who want to call in, it is the number to call in, 202-889-9797. Let's jump in for a moment. You know what? Something that concerns us, Jeff, that you started to talk about. Why don't we talk about that for a moment? Why don't we let you finish that thought? You talk about auto theft. So many people that I am aware of have been victimized by auto theft. And it is very interesting sort of the leadership role that you and the Pohanka family took in trying to curtail auto theft. Can you talk to us about that for a moment?
Yeah, one thing about Washington, this city is the most dynamic city in the world, and we're fortunate that we all live here in Washington. Certainly, Prince George's is an area that doesn't thrive in all the areas of development as maybe Montgomery or Fairfax. And if you look at it, Prince George's is in the top, has the highest African American middle income population in the United States, is in one of the top 100 income counties in the United States. But we have a myriad of social problems, and auto theft was one of those. And I set out in the process to try to do something about it. And the good news is we got auto theft down over 80% in the past 5-6 years. And that was not just through my efforts, but I got the ball rolling, I think, because it was either get auto thefts down, which we're all being victimized, including our dealerships and individuals, or I can't make this investment. So I had a choice to make, and I want to roll my sleeves up to do something about auto theft to get the government to take it more seriously.
And, look, folks, one of the staples of our lives is transportation. And, the automotive industry is a backbone, is absolutely a cornerstone of the United States economy. Scott Crabtree, let me ask you, as we speak today, is this a good time to buy a car? Is it, should one be more leery about buying now? Talk to us about, timing, how to get the best deal.
This is the best time that there's been in any recent history, maybe in all of history, to buy a car. Interest rates are at an all-time low.
I was going to say why.
Interest rates are at an all-time low, and it's always a challenge if interest rates are low, but the banks won't loan you any money. Then that gets to be a challenge. But the banks are loaning money now, and actually, the automobile industry tends to be a leading segment when the economy is recovering, and you're reading about housing's recovering, so there are a lot of things that are going in a positive direction, and the automobile industry is a leading part of that. And the big part is that there's cars available. The manufacturers are probably making the best cars that they've ever made. And then the customer is in a position where he can own that car for the smallest percentage of his income. You get more for your money now than ever in the history.
And your word you always hear in the automobile industry is you get a good deal. But the point you're making here is with the interest rates low, with the availability of cars, that is then a great time for the consumer.
Very good for the consumer. Manufacturers, they want to sell cars now. They want to make the deal available for the consumer. So.
Sandy Fitzgerald, let me ask you, one of the things that I have the good fortune of getting feedback on is some of the experiences that some of our listeners have had when they've sort of listened to us here and gone to purchase a car from our advertiser, Pohanka. What I want to ask you about is I talk to women oftentimes that have great trepidation about walking into a car dealership. They're just petrified about buying a car or having a car serviced. Sandy, talk to me about that, and also is there a peculiarity in terms of what you find? Is there a sort of an equal access credit, women versus men? Is there any difference there? Because I've heard some talk about that. So if you could address those things for me, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, Rock. I don't know what you mean on an equal access credit, but I will tell you in Salisbury, we're about pretty half and half on women in our sales and service departments. We have just as many women on the sales floor and writing service. So a woman walking into our stores shouldn't feel any different than a gentleman walking into our stores. So maybe that's because of me being at the head. I think things have
Would
changed.
you disagree with that, Scott, that it doesn't have to necessarily do anything with Sandy?
I would agree that it has a lot to do with Sandy, but part of our drive throughout the whole organization is to make the opportunities for women to come into a dealership and feel comfortable, and so we really work hard at that. And part of it is developing people like Sandy. Now, Sandy did grow up in that Marla Heights area, went to high school there, went to college in Maryland, and she started as a switchboard operator.
Where'd you go to high school, Sandy?
Crossland. And Rock, you and I worked together. What year was that? Was it late 70s?
It was probably something like that, but I wanted to know what high school you went to, because I know the high school that I went to used to beat y'all all the time.
I don't know about that.
But Scott, about the development, because that's a very important aspect.
We're taking someone like Sandy, who worked for us when she was still in high school, and giving her an opportunity to grow and develop with us. And here we are years later. And she is our partner and running the operation in Salisbury. How many people do you employ there, Sandy?
250.
Yeah, and we sell potentially 500 or 600 cars there. We are the dominant operation there in that market. But Sandy, grew up with us in the business and developed, and and she had an equal opportunity, but actually outperformed her male counterparts, and that's why she is where she is today.
Sandy, you go, girl. Let me, before we go to break, we have on the line, if I can read that right, Maria from White Plains, Maryland. Maria, thank you for calling the Rock Newman Show.
Sure. Good morning, Rock. How are you guys doing this morning?
Great, great.
I'm calling because I just heard your comments about women going into the dealership. And actually, I went to the Pohanka dealership down in Fredericksburg, Virginia. And this is probably about 2 months ago. And you're right. Women going into a dealership were scared to death. And I have to admit, I figured, well, I'll just go down, just walk around and see how they are. And your first experience is you walk in and you're bombarded by them running up to you. It's like, well, what can we do for you today? I actually got to walk around out into the yard to see what they had out there. And then a salesman came out and he goes, "Hi, how are you doing?" So, pleasantries. And we went inside and he said, "Well, did you see something that we're interested in?" And I said, "Yes, that there was 2 out there." So he said, "Why don't we take a test drive them both?" Which we did. And the second car was the car I chose. And I have to admit, he was a very pleasant gentleman, and I'm so sorry I cannot remember his name. But we worked up the paperwork. They came back with a price that I was quite pleased with. I even had a trade-in, and you know that. They always say you never get what your car is really worth, but he actually gave me a little bit more than I thought I was going to get, because I had checked it before I went down. And then we went through going into the credit process, and once I got in there, I was in and out within 20 minutes. So to say that it was probably the best experience I've had at a dealership.
That is, I'm great to hear, and I'm sure that's great for you guys to hear, because
that's the goal.
That would be the goal. You get a lot of complaints, and I'm going to get some complaints from my producers here if I don't take a break for some commercial announcements. We got to pay the bills, y'all.
Understandably so, but it was great to be able to call in and talk to you all.
Thank you.
Thanks for your business.
Take care.
We'll find out when the discussion continues after this on The Rock Newman Show.
Well, welcome, We Act Radio. Welcome to the District of Columbia. We appreciate the activism that you stand for, and we hope that you will be an integral part of our effort to free D.C., to bring democracy to the District of Columbia so that we can approve our own budget, we can approve our own laws, and that we can get rid of taxation without representation in this city. There's no way that we can credibly go around the world, this nation, promoting democracy and then not have it right in our nation's capital. And we hope that We Act will be a part of helping us to change that. We Act, do something.
Yo, George Dr. Funkenstein Clinton saying you're listening to We Act Radio. They do the dog, y'all.
Pohanka Acura's huge March sales event is going on now. Get one of the new 2013 TLs for as low as $199 per month, or get the brand new 2013 MDX for only $254 a month. Come find out why price and selection have made Pohanka the world's largest.
Good God! I got to ask you, what we need? Soul food. Henry Soul Food. No, we need it. Soul Food. Henry Soul Food. No, I like it. Soul Food. Henry Soul Food. No, we need it. Soul Food. Henry Soul Food.
Home of the sweet potato pie. Even the keenest taste buds will tell you the best food on the planet. Large enough to serve you and small enough to know you. So get the Henrys at 5431 Indian Head Highway, Oxon Hill, Maryland, or give us a call at 301-749-6856.
Soul food. Henry's soul food. What we need? Soul food. Henry's soul food. We want soul.
My baby drives a Pohanka.
The weekend is here, and no matter what the weather's like outside, you'll find the deals inside here in the beautiful showroom of the all-new Pohanka Hyundai in Capitol Heights during their giant Markdown Madness sale.
Smart shoppers know that every new Hyundai in Pohanka comes with Hyundai Assurance and America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. But why don't you tell them about the Markdown sale, Joe?
I'll be happy to, Kim. Folks, shop around on the web, and you'll see lease payments on a new 2013 Elantra GLS at $179 a month. Today at Pohanka Hyundai, $99 a month. That's right, a $99 payment on a brand new Elantra.
And $89 a month on a new 2013 Accent GLS Automatic. How do they do it, Joe?
It must be the volume, Kim. A brand new building, hundreds of new Hyundais, and Pohanka's low payment and easy credit programs are designed to get everybody driving. But you have to get here today. Rush to the giant Markdown Madness sale at exit 13 off the Capitol Beltway.
Pohanka Hyundai, king of the Beltway. All financing for a limited term on approved HMF credit.
My baby drives a Pohanka.
Giving you the real on everything from politics, sports, and common everyday life issues. This is The Rock Newman Show.
June 27th is National HIV Testing Day.
HIV testing is fast, painless, and often free.
I've been tested for HIV.
I've been tested for HIV. Have you? To find an HIV testing center near you, visit greaterthan.org.
All financing with approved HFS Super Preferred Credit. Pohanka is buying down the rate to 0% from 0.9 max gas total $31.50 on 2013 Ridgeline 4-wheel drive. Excludes hybrids, leases, and all other advertised offers.
Hear that? That's the sound of gas prices getting higher and higher. Pohanka Honda Fredericksburg says, buy a fuel-efficient new Honda this month and get gas for a year. How do you do it? Walk up to any of over 500 new Hondas at Pohanka and check the EPA's annual estimated fuel cost posted on each vehicle's window sticker. Whatever the dollar amount is, Pohanka will give it back to you in prepaid gas cards when you buy any new Honda, no matter what amount is printed on the sticker, up to $3,150 worth. Or during Honda's really big spring event, choose any new 013 Honda Accord, Civic, CRV, you name it, and get 0% APR financing for 60 months. That's 0 for 60, or gas for a year. Bye-bye. Log on to PohankaHondaFredericksburg.com for all the details, and take I-95 to exit 133 today. Why pick Pohanka? It's the price and the gas.
Friends, David Schuster here, and all of us at We Act Radio are so proud of our neighbors here in Southeast D.C., especially one of our partners, the Ark. The Ark is at 1901 Mississippi Avenue Southeast. It's the home to some of Washington's best, including the Washington Ballet, the Levine School of Music, Boys and Girls Club, and the Children's Health Project. All provide a number of programs and services within the very same facility. The Ark is also home to the Ark Theater, the only theater east of the river, which hosts a variety of dance, music, and theatrical shows each year. Almost everything you could want is at the Ark, so stop by and see them. The Ark, 1901 Mississippi Avenue in Southeast. For more information, visit the Ark's website, www.thearkdc.org, or call 202-889-5901. The Ark, part of Southeast D.C.
Real talk, real issues, real life.
I got a new sheriff in town.
We now return to The Rock Newman Show.
Hi, this is Mia. I can't wait until me going to DC and a couple of days away. I love you and I miss you so much. I can't wait. Bye. Love you.
I can't wait either, baby. Welcome back to the Rock Newman Show. To join us, call 202-889-9797. And before we get back to all that you ever wanted to know about the automotive industry, let me say that one of our other sponsors, advertisers, is MGM Grand National Harbor. Folks, I sat with the people from MGM yesterday and saw the spectacular design that is being done for the what is going to be the largest development in Prince George's County, I guess ever. It's emerging as $1 billion development that is going to create numerous jobs, great opportunity to come in and get your gaming on. And as I have said in the past, let's face it, folks gamble. You're either going to you go to Atlantic City, you go to Las Vegas, you go all around the world. And I would say to the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, if you're going to get your gaming on at the MGM National Harbor. I can't wait until they can really reveal their plans to the public. Support that project. It is good for this region. Back to all you ever wanted to know about the automobile industry. Which of you, Sandy Fitzgerald, you still there? Sandy Fitzgerald, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I have Sandy Fitzgerald as a guest on the line from the Eastern Shore of Maryland, Scott Crabtree, and Jeff Pohanka. You know, when I worked at Pohanka back in the early 70s, I remember Jeff coming in there bouncing around, and, you know, you just looked so much younger. Well, my God.
Still young.
You know, you look so much younger now, man. So, again, all three of you, welcome to the show. Let me throw out to you guys the question. Often is had you hear about these leasing programs, and you hear about, should I buy a car or should I lease a car? What's the answer?
Well, a lot depends on.
Can I answer that, Rob?
Sure. Ladies first.
I think my feeling is that leasing is probably the best way to go 9 out of 10 times.
Oh, wow. Really?
Absolutely. Many different reasons. You pay a lot less for a car over time and get more cars basically for the same period. If you were to spend the same amount of dollars for 6 years, with leasing you would get 2 new cars. If you financed the car for that same period of time, you would have 1 new car. And basically that's the number one reason I say that. And people say, well, I put too many miles on a car to lease it. Not true anymore. A consumer eats the cost of those miles themselves more if they purchase the car or finance the car than they do if they lease. On a lease, a manufacturer usually charges 20 cents to 25 cents a mile at lease turn-in. The way we lease customers, we trade them back. We don't go to lease turn-in, so they never see a mileage penalty. But if they did, that amount is way less than what they would eat trading that car back in, if that makes sense. If you do the math from Kelley Blue Book and you look at what a car is worth with 15,000 miles versus, let's say, 30,000 miles, you're going to lose more than 20 cents a mile. Is what I'm trying to say.
Well, Scott,
manufacturers today also put more incentives on leasing than financing, so the customer gets a better payment on the lease.
Now, let me ask, is that a philosophy standard? I mean, is that a manufacturer and industry standard and approach?
The manufacturer obviously wants you back in the market quicker, so if you're coming back every 2 or 3 years, it's better for them. But it's also better for the consumer. Look how fast technology is changing today. If you're in a car that's 6 years old, you probably don't have the most safety updates on the sides of the car, the engine dropping down. You probably don't have Bluetooth. You probably don't have the newest GPS in the car. Nowadays, you can look up the weather on your GPS screen. There's so many things that are in a car today that weren't in there so many years ago.
So as a company, Scott, are you now? Is that the push now? Is that the initiative to get more people to lease?
Okay, let me answer that a couple of ways. One of the things that Sandy was talking about there was it's to the customer's benefit. What the customer actually does with lease is they can delay the decision to purchase the car. In other words, they have the option to purchase the car at the end of the lease at a fixed price. So if they want to own it, they can. Now, they have a lower payment for those first 3 years. But at that point in time, if the car, and when Sandy's saying with the miles, the value of the car could actually be less than the lease. And in that case, the consumer would decide not to buy the car. and the manufacturer would eat the depreciation. So if the car was worth more than the agreed upon value, the consumer could then buy the car or trade the car and get the benefit of that appreciation.
Folks, you probably saw something when Scott Crabtree was introduced. Those of you who are watching at www.rocknewmanshow.com, you probably saw something when he was introduced where the Dustin Hoffman movie Marathon Man was put up on the split screen. The reason that was put up on the split screen is because this guy here is truly a marathon man. Scott's a little bit past 65 years old. I'm telling some secrets here, but he wins competitions for folks that are in their 50s, and he's a true marathon man himself. Jeff Pohanka, what is the future of what's coming? What's coming in the automotive industry? What's coming that perhaps we're not aware of? What do you see coming down the pipe?
Well, if I go back for a second on lease, I think one thing, lease may seem complex, but I think when customers go in the showroom, they should ask about it and then do a side-by-side comparison, because lease is an option with certain cars to have a new car in your driveway all the time. So there are things with how many miles you drive, things like that, but a lot of people reject it without looking into it. I think consumers should look into it, and there may be some things there that if they learned about, they would really, really like and continue to do. Car industry is always changing, but it is changing. We still have the internal combustion engine. We still have most cars that have four wheels, But right now, you're getting a lot of options, things in the cars you didn't have before. Now, I'm driving a new Honda Accord. I think this is one of the best-selling cars in the United States. I think it's going to become the best-selling car in the United States, the new Honda Accord. You can get 40 miles per gallon highway in this car. It's amazing, this gas miles. And this is a Honda Accord. This is a midsize car. It has standard backup camera. Every Accord has backup camera. And a lot of Hondas, like every Civic now, is a backup camera. It has a device. If you get too close to a car in front of you, it warns you that you're getting too close to this car. And you can turn that off if you don't like it. And if you veer out of your lane, it beeps too. Now, I find this thing going off all the time because I ride on a little close to people, and my mind's active, and I didn't realize, so I get off lane. But these are all standard features which are coming in cars, besides 6 airbags, all the other things. So there's a lot of exciting things, the communication, Pandora, which I don't know enough about, obviously the Bluetooth, all those things. There's a lot of new technology coming. Fuel mileage is getting better, safety is getting better, and the price is really going up that much.
You're getting
a lot for your money.
This is going to sound absolutely like a shameless shill. However, I've had every car in the world, from the most raggedy, broke down, muffler falling off, burning my hand, picking it up on this highway in the middle of the night, to perhaps some of the most expensive cars that you could possibly have. I've always said, like they say in the boxing ring, this fighter pound for pound is the best. I've always thought, dollar for dollar, the Honda automobile was the best car in the industry. Let's talk about service. You guys are crazy. Your service department is open from 6 o'clock in the morning until 11 o'clock at night. Where did that concept come from?
Let me say, not everybody has enough money, but nobody has enough time. Mm-hmm. We're always busy, and when you start thinking about service, that's one of the hardest things most people think is getting a car serviced.
Yeah, it's a pain.
How do you get in there? And so what our drive is we try to build the business. As you see Rock, as you see Sandy, these are people that have been with us years and years. We build the business. Well, the customer needs a good experience in service. That's the most important aspect of the whole process. You buy a car once, you service it 5, 10, 15 times over years. That needs to be a great experience. So how do you do that? what's most important to the customer is it's got to be easy. It's got to be so easy that it's like a non-event. Not a struggle, not a fight, not a scramble, but a non-event. Now, how do you do that? The best way to do that is do it right the first time when the customer comes in. But the other part of it is we're open from 5:30 in the morning in some of our dealerships till 11 o'clock at night, 7 days a week. Now, that includes Sunday, obviously, 365 days a year. So now the customer doesn't have to make an appointment. He doesn't have to call into the dealership. He knows that if he drives by, drives in, we're going to be there and service is going to be open. And we're going to jump out there and try to take care of him. And our goal, make that easy, then get that car done in an hour or less. So it's more like making a pit stop in NASCAR. You know, you go in there, get your car fixed. You don't have to call ahead. You don't have to make an appointment. You don't have to deal with things. But then if in most of our dealerships, if we can't get it done in 45 minutes, it's something more complex, something we can get it done in that hour or less, 75% of the time, and the customer drives away. So now think about it. He doesn't have to think about it. He stops, gets it done, drives away. It's done in an hour or so, not a week, a day.
Right.
And this is basically, most customers have to go by the dealer schedule. In this situation, we're working with the customer schedule. We'll staff our shops based upon when customers want to come in. And so what's interesting is when, before we did this at some stores, we'd say, you know, come in at 7, come in at 8. People want to come in at 10. You know, they don't act, if we were going to be on the customer schedule, our staffing will be different than if they're on our schedule, because it's free flow, and it really makes it so easy. You don't have to think about it. You can just come in anytime we're open, and we'll take care of you.
You know, let me ask about this. You guys also sell used cars, and when folks talk about sort of the bottom rung of people's impression of a profession, they always say, you know, well, you know, they acted like a used car salesman. What's the sense? Do you find any sense in the industry now that sort of that used car salesman chagrin has been elevated at all? Talk to us about the used car, purchasing a used car.
I think what's exciting about our business is used cars, because not everyone can afford a new car. And there are a lot of certified cars now, which are a lot of off-lease cars that are low mileage and really great condition. And where the certified pre-owned car comes with an extended warranty up to 100,000 miles and an extension of the factory warranty. And that this is basically taken, and cars are made much better now. It used to be a car with 100,000 miles was just ragged out, falling apart. A car with 100,000 miles now might be closer to new than be used, because it still rides good gas mileage, looks good. Cars last almost indefinitely with proper care, in a sense. Now, one thing we're doing in Capitol Heights at our Honda and Hyundai dealerships is almost every used car is either factory certified, which comes with additional factory warranty, or it's Pohanka certified. And a Pohanka certified car means we're going to put a 2-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty on every car we sell that's newer than 9 years and under 90,000 miles. So at no additional cost. So you'll have the assurance that this car is going to be a good car, and you're not going to have some big expenses after you buy it. So, and we also contact every single customer at our dealerships in Capitol Heights and some other stores who bought used cars. We treat them just like a new car customer. We want to assure their total satisfaction with us.
Let me introduce a little politics
They
here.
have the potential, we look at it, they have the potential for becoming a new car customer. So we want to treat them better.
Gotcha.
Or as good. We treat everybody better.
Hey, Brock.
Yes.
Let me say that the question you asked is about the salesperson, too. Today, the new car salespeople are selling both. They're selling used cars, the training that they go through from the manufacturer to not only sell new cars, but certified used cars. So you're pretty much dealing with the same salespeople, whether you're buying new or used. So hopefully that misconception is gone.
Yeah, let me introduce a little politics here. When Barack Obama became president, the economy was absolutely in tatters, and he insisted that there be part of his economic development for the country that there was an auto bailout, and there was an awful lot of resistance to that. Take us back to that time, and how did you guys feel about what was going on at that time when folks were actually fighting against an economic bailout, which was thought to some extent, if that didn't happen, then the economy would collapse.
It was a very difficult time. I mean, the world was imploding, and clearly one of our key industries is the auto industry. 1 out of 8 people in the United States works directly or indirectly in the auto industry, making steel, glass, plastic, or selling cars or servicing. 1 out of 8, so it's a primary industry, and basically one that needed support. And sometimes you do things, you don't know the results, but General Motors is making about $7 billion a year. Chrysler is still here. The auto industry is back on its feet. The U.S. is making competitive cars, and you know what? It's an investment a big investment that probably had to be made, and you know what? It's generally been pretty successful.
So, for you guys as a company, let me see. Let me run down this list. You've got Acura, Honda, Lexus, Mercedes, Chevy, Hyundai, Toyota, Nissan, and you sell used cars.
And we're getting Volkswagen soon.
You're getting Volkswagen. Okay, you've got 11 collision centers. What's the new horizon for you guys? Are you bringing in any other manufacturers? Just going to develop what you have here? What's on the horizon for you guys?
We are aggressively looking to expand. I mean, we think the automotive business is a great business, and there's great opportunity and great potential and great expansion. So yeah, we are very, very much interested in continuing to grow our business.
Now, when you guys, when you all get yourselves involved with like sports programming, when you develop marketing that is around, let's say, a professional football team, you make sure that you've got your signs out there. What's other than what I would think that is the best way for any person, for any company to sell anything is being word of mouth. What do you find your most effective advertising to be?
We like to get involved in the community. Sandy is the head of the Chamber of Commerce, Sandy, for this past year.
Yes.
And what other things have you done down there with the community that you think helps our business?
The biggest thing that we did down here, Rock, is we started a Pohanka Pays It Forward when the recession started. We felt that the first thing that big companies stopped doing is helping charities. So with the purchase of every car, we started a program where we let the customer choose which organization, nonprofit organization, that we gave money to. So we've given, probably close to $1 million back to our local community in the past 4 or 5 years to numerous charities. We support a local Boys and Girls Club for at-risk kids here in Salisbury. We support a Main Street boxing gym, which you're familiar with because you've helped us with that. I sit on many different boards down here and try and do as much as I can within the community.
Look, okay, let's say you've got someone fresh out of college. They are 22 years old. They don't have strong credit. They don't have a big down payment. How does that person go about buying a car?
Fresh out of college is easy. There's many college grad programs, probably with every manufacturer out there. Normally, a person's starting credit would need somebody to co-sign with them, but most banks and manufacturers, credit companies today have first-time buyer programs out there, as long as there's no negative marks on it.
College kids, keep your credit report free of terrible blemishes.
Yeah, the other thing that we do, we have very strong relationships with our lenders. And so we do an extensive interview with a customer and look for the positives, and the main thing that any lender should take into consideration. Does this person have a likely probability of paying the loan? If they are likely to pay that loan, then it's a good risk. And no matter what it shows on the report, no matter what you look at in the numbers there, do they have the likelihood of paying this out? And if we can evaluate that and do that through an interview process, we have an opportunity to go to bat for that.
And the likelihood of me going off the air if I don't go to this commercial break is very strong. So let's go to this commercial break. We'll be right back. Join us when we get back here on the Rock Newman Show. Call us 202-889-9797.
The Rock Newman Show will be back after this.
Welcome, We Act Radio. Welcome to the District of Columbia. We appreciate the activism that you stand for, and we hope that you will be an integral part of our effort to free D.C., to bring democracy to the District of Columbia so that we can approve our own budget, we can approve our own laws, and that we can get rid of taxation without representation in this city. There's no way that we can credibly go around the world, this nation, promoting democracy and then not have it right in our nation's capital. And we hope that We Act will be a part of helping us to change that. We Act, do something.
And you can see 9 dimes every half an hour. Well, Larson and Joe is the lingo. And brothers.
Yo, this is George Dr. Funkenstein Clinton saying you're listening to We Act Radio. They do the dog, y'all.
Pohanka Acura's huge March sales event is going on now. Get one of the new 2013 TLs for as low as $199 per month, or get the brand new 2013 MDX for only $254 a month. Come find out why price and selection have made Pohanka the world's largest.
I speak from Pennsylvania's death row.
A bright, shiny, highly mechanized hell.
Mumia Abu-Jamal is one of the lost souls of the revolution.
And they're trying to figure out how to shut him down entirely.
They have moved heaven and earth to stop his voice being heard in the United States.
When you talk about groups that are maligned and slurred as terrorists in the major media, they're really small fry. They're retail terrorists, wholesale terrorists of the United States government.
The whole problem is really the blacks. The key is to devise a system that recognizes this while not appearing to it.
On the move, this is Mumia Abu-Jamal.
Hi, I'm Tom Morello. Some call me the Night Watchman. And the case of Mumia Abu-Jamal is at a crucial stage. Please go to freemumia.com to find out more information about how you can help Mumia Abu-Jamal and other political prisoners. Night Watchman out.
June 27th is National HIV Testing Day.
HIV testing is fast, painless, and often free.
I've been tested for HIV.
I've been tested for HIV. Have you? To find an HIV testing center near you, visit greaterthan.org.
My baby drives a Pohanka.
The weekend is here, and no matter what the weather's like outside, you'll find the deals inside here in the beautiful showroom of the all-new Pohanka Hyundai in Capitol Heights during their giant Markdown Madness sale.
Smart shoppers know that every new Hyundai in Pohanka comes with Hyundai Assurance and America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. But why don't you tell them about the Markdown sale, Joe?
I'll be happy to, Kim. Folks, shop around on the web, and you'll see lease payments on a new 2013 Elantra GLS at $179 a month. Today at Pohanka Hyundai, $99 a month. That's right, a $99 payment on a brand new Elantra.
And $89 a month on a new 2013 Accent GLS Automatic. How do they do it, Joe?
It must be the volume, Kim. A brand new building, hundreds of new Hyundais, and Pohanka's low payment and easy credit programs are designed to get everybody driving. But you have to get here today. Rush to the giant Markdown Madness sale at exit 13 off the Capitol Beltway.
Pohanka Hyundai, king of the Beltway. All financing for a limited term on approved HMF credit.
My baby drives a Pohanka.
Do you have a case of the saggy Maggies? Or those uncontrollable falling bra straps? Ooh, how annoying! Well, Bra Leaf is your solution. Bra Leaf is made of a soft elastic band, and you can adjust this length for narrow to wide bra straps. With Bra Leaf, the results are amazing. Get the lift you've always wanted. Try Bra Leaf, the premium adjustable bra clip, at braleaf.com. That's BRALIEF.com. Try it today.
The prodigal son of the DMV is back. Ladies and gentlemen, show your love for Rock Newman on The Rock Newman Show.
Hi, I'm Patrick Ewing. I'm here giving something back to the community. I went to school here. I lived here in the community. I have an office here on Minnesota Avenue. I always loved D.C. Just trying to give something back to the community of Ward 8 in this community or from around the country. WEACT Radio, do something.
The conversation that some people just don't care to have. We now rejoin the discussion on The Rock Newman Show.
Hi, this is Mia. I just remembered that tomorrow I don't have any school, so I was wondering if we can hang out. But if you have plans, that's okay. Bye, love you.
If you guys want to know who that lovely voice is, that is my granddaughter Mia. That's my little honey doll baby. We are about to wrap up here at the Rock Newman Show. We've been talking all about the automotive, all you wanted to know about the automotive world and the automotive industry. But what I'd like to do to ask, and Jeff Pohanka, since you've got that name, Pohanka, let's let you close this out. In terms of, okay, you've got competitors out there, and, everybody, claims to be the best, claims to be the greatest. What is it that you would say are the cornerstones of what makes Pohanka different, and why the customers should come to Pohanka as opposed to choosing another operation?
I think there are really four things that we try to do that help differentiate us. One is to have the very best products, have great locations, have great people, and great processes. And I think one thing that probably shows that we work hard for the consumer is that we're going to have our 100th anniversary of our company in about 6 years. So we survived the depression, we're growing, we're thriving, and we're only doing that because of the consumer. And we appreciate every one of our customers and our associates who work for us, who help us make us who we are. And we've got 5th generation Pohanka in the dealerships, and we're thankful for the opportunity to serve the public like we have.
And let me just say, in a heartfelt kind of way, I am thankful that you guys are an advertiser and a sponsor of the Rock Newman Show. I am thankful that the three of you, Sandy Fitzgerald, Scott Crabtree, and Jeff Pohanka, were able to join me today. Folks, stay tuned. In the next hour, Washington, D.C. Mayor Vince Gray. He will be with us for the entire hour. And we will be taking your calls at The Rock Newman Show at 202-889-9797. You're right.
you do when gas prices get higher and higher and higher? Switch to a gas-sipping new Honda at Pohanka. Find the annual fuel cost posted on the window sticker of any new Honda, and we'll give you that amount in gas for a year at Pohanka Honda of Fredericksburg. Brand new Accords get up to 36 miles to the gallon, and you can buy any new Honda at Pohanka at 0% for 60 months, or get an entire year's worth of gas with any new purchase. Get the deals now at PohankaHondaFredericksburg.com. Why pick Pohanka? It's the gas!
Well, welcome, We Act Radio. Welcome to the District of Columbia. We appreciate the activism that you stand for, and we hope that you will be an integral part of our effort to free D.C., to bring democracy to the District of Columbia so that we can approve our own budget, we can approve our own laws, and that we can get rid of taxation without representation in this city. There's no way that we can credibly go around the world, this nation, promoting democracy and then not have it right in our nation's capital. And we hope that We Act will be a part of helping us to change that. We Act, do something.
And you can see 9 dimes every half an hour. With lunch and Joe is the lingo, and brothers rob, so ain't nobody rocking me close.
Friends, David Schuster here, and all of us at We Act Radio are so proud of our neighbors here in Southeast D.C., especially one of our partners, the Ark. The Ark is at 1901 Mississippi Avenue Southeast. It's the home to some of Washington's best, including the Washington Ballet, the Levine School of Music, Boys and Girls Club, and the Children's Health Project. All provide a number of programs and services within the very same facility. The Ark is also home to the Ark Theater, the only theater east of the river, which hosts a variety of dance, music, and theatrical shows each year. Almost everything you could want is at the Ark, so stop by and see them. The Ark, 1901 Mississippi Avenue in Southeast. For more information, visit the Ark's website, www.thearkdc.org, or call 202-889-5901. The Ark, part of Southeast D.C.
My baby drives a Pohanka.
The weekend is here, and no matter what the weather's like outside, you'll find the deals inside here in the beautiful showroom of the all-new Pohanka Hyundai in Capitol Heights during their giant Markdown Madness sale.
Smart shoppers know that every new Hyundai at Pohanka comes with Hyundai Assurance and America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. But why don't you tell them about the Markdown sale, Joe?
I'll be happy to, Kim. Folks, shop around on the web, and you'll see lease payments on a new 2013 Elantra GLS at $179 a month. Today at Pohanka Hyundai, $99 a month. That's right, a $99 payment on a brand new Elantra.
And $89 a month on a new 2013 Accent GLS Automatic. How do they do it, Joe?
It must be the volume, Kim. A brand new building, hundreds of new Hyundais, and Pohanka's low payment and easy credit programs are designed to get everybody driving. But you have to get here today. Rush to the giant Markdown Madness sale at exit 13 off the Capitol Beltway.
Pohanka Hyundai, king of the Beltway. All financing for a limited term on approved HMF credit.
My baby drives a Pohanka.
Real talk, real issues, real life.
I got a new sheriff in town.
We now return to the Rock Newman Show.
Welcome back to the Rock Newman Show. Today, March the 23rd, on this beautiful, beautiful sunshiny day in the Washington, D.C. District of Columbia. Spectacular day. Give us a call. We are at 202-889-9797. Feel free to call in. We have the mayor of the District of Columbia joining us this hour. Mr. Mayor, welcome to the Rock Newman Show.
Thank you, Rock. It's a real delight to be here. I had hoped to be here in the launching of the show, and I was away and got a chance to call in briefly. But I wanted to get here as quickly as I could. and I want to congratulate you on launching this show. It's great to have you back here, and it's great to have you back connected to the people of the city.
Well, thank you very much. And it is, it's not just a cliche in this particular case. It's always good to be home. So thank you very much. Vince, if I can call you Vince.
Absolutely. That's where we've always been at. That's where we roll, right?
Okay. All right. Let's try to put things in perspective. I had a Facebook, I made a Facebook post yesterday, and some people love Vince Gray, and some people claim that they don't love Vince Gray so much. I think there was somebody named Jesus that they felt the same way about. Some people loved him, and some didn't love him so much. But let's do this. Let's do a quick history on Vince Gray. Vince Gray was born where, and went to elementary school and high school and college. Let's do it all.
I'm a native Washingtonian, and proud to be. I grew up at 6th and L Streets, Northeast, which I suppose we could easily describe as the hood. And what a great, experience it was growing up, getting to know so many people, some of whom are still good friends of mine. I went to Logan Elementary School. In fact, I'm a D.C. public school product. I went to Logan Elementary School, Langley Junior High School thereafter, and then went on to Dunbar High School. And then stayed home thereafter too, Rock. I went to George Washington University, undergraduate and graduate school, and have worked my entire life here in the city. So I'm probably as much of a homie as one can possibly be.
I was going to say, that's sure enough dyed in the wool, homegrown Washington, D.C. Okay, there's so much for us to talk about in this hour. We'll try to get a few calls in. When on the inaugural show, each of the four mayors that I had involved, they all had their own version about home rule, why we didn't have it, why Washington, D.C. didn't have it, and the prospects of getting it. Talk to us about home rule.
Well, first of all, people describe it as limited home rule, which is an odd term. To me, you either have home rule or you don't. And we certainly don't have the capacity to be able to, the authority to be able to make all the decisions that people who live in a democracy should be able to make. It really is, I call it the hypocrisy of democracy. And that is, here we are in the nation's capital, in the nation that, is noted for protecting democracy. We go to Iraq, we go to Afghanistan, we go all over the world trying to protect the freedoms of other people. Yet we really haven't worked to be able to make sure the people of this city are free. When you look at it, we got for the first time the ability to elect a mayor in 1975. We elected a council then. Prior to that, we had an appointed mayor, we had an appointed council. But the reality is, even with what authority we've been accorded at this stage now since 1975, there's still fundamental things that we can't do. We can't approve. We don't have final approval of our budget. Our budget has to be sent to the the Congress, after the council approves it, and I sign it. It goes to the Congress. There is no city or state in America that has to do that. We can't approve our laws. Our laws have to go to Capitol Hill to be approved. And what's interesting, Rock, is that it adds an amazing amount of process to our ability to govern here. We have thousands of hours of work that has to be done in order to accommodate that. And let me just give you an example of how ridiculous it can be. When I was on the council, we wanted to do something which I didn't think was very controversial, and that is change the term handicapped to disabled. Now, I can't imagine anybody would debate that. Well, because our laws have to go to the Congress to be finally approved, it took us 9 more months in order to be able to accomplish that, which is, to me, is absolutely ridiculous.
You point out that, and if we just hold that up, changing handicap from the term handicap to disabled, and it take 9 months as a result of really not having self-determination is an absolute tragedy and absurdity.
It is. It is a total travesty for us to be put in a situation like that. And you look at our performance at this stage. What is it that people would criticize about our performance in the District of Columbia? We are a well-managed city. As we were talking earlier, we just got something that I don't think any other jurisdiction in America has achieved, and that is because of our financial performance, especially over the last 2 years. Standard & Poor's, which is one of the rating agencies for the District of Columbia in terms of our bonds, a very important thing, just upgraded our bonds. In a climate with sequestration, where there's so much uncertainty at the federal level, we have a rating agency that says we think you guys have done a good enough job to be able to be upgraded. So I don't hear any rational arguments about why it is that we have to continue to be subjected to this. And you add to the budget issue, you add to the issue with our laws. We have an outstanding congresswoman who represents the District of Columbia who doesn't even have a vote. She can't even vote on the issues that affect her city, despite the fact that she's now in her 12th term, overwhelmingly elected by the people of the District of Columbia. And of course, we have aspired to, and we will continue to aspire to be a state, because there's so many arguments as to why we should be a state. And we are treated like a state in so many instances when you look at federal programs. The federal programs that are grants that come to the city, for example, they come to us in the same way they would come to 50 other states.
You just mentioned something about the upgrade, the Standard & Poor's upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
Has that hit the news yet?
Yeah, it was in the Washington Post yesterday, and it was a brief article in the Post. We're continuing to talk about it, of course, but we were in New York just about 3 or 4 weeks ago to make presentations, and we were able to lay out everything that the city has done over the last couple of years, and especially over the last year. And really, the only issues that were raised with us by the 3 rating agencies, Moody's, Fitch, and Standard & Poor's, was the federal climate that we're operating in. Well, we don't have any control over that. There was nothing that was said untoward about where we are financially at this stage.
One of the things that I had intended to do, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I had intended to introduce you by saying that many people in this city, and I would say some that I'm surprised because they weren't necessarily fans of Vince Gray when you came into office. Mm-hmm. And sort of the firestorm of criticism that followed your election. You went through some tough times. However, there's a body of people who know this city and know this city well, who have said that your performance while in office right now deserves another 4 years. Now, we can get to whether or not you're planning on seeking that 4 years, whether or not you're planning on seeking that 4 years in a minute. But I can tell you from where I sit here at 1918 Martin Luther King Avenue that as I have observed what has happened in this city, and, in part because we were having this interview this morning, I drove around the city yesterday. I drove around and around and around. I was up at 24th and M Street. I was up by Neiman Marcus up on Western Avenue. I was over here in Southeast Washington. I was at the at Horace and Dickey's Fish in Northeast. I was all over the city. And I see building. I see cranes, I see trucks, I see holes in the ground. There is a building boom that is going on here that is absolutely unprecedented.
It is. And we're really proud of it. Rock, not to make this, for me anyway, simpler than what it is, but there were certain things we said we were going to do when we came into office, and we worked very hard to be able to fulfill those things. And putting people back to work and doing economic development happen to be 2 of the most important of those things. We actually count the cranes in the city. We have our deputy mayor for economic development who does that. We have 56 cranes that are actively working in the city at this stage, and not just in the downtown area. As you indicated, they're all over the city. One of the things that I said I was going to do was, frankly, work hard to bring prosperity and economic development to the east end of this city, because it just hasn't happened to that extent in the past. And we are doing that. You look at the schools that are being built. Just a couple of days ago, we had a groundbreaking for a brand new recreation center at Barry Farm. We're going to rebuild Barry Farm, and we made a promise which will be kept, that the people who live in Barry Farm who want to come back after the building is done, they will have the right.
When you say you're going to rebuild Barry Farm, what are you going to tear down? What are you going to put up?
Well, we're probably going to tear down over time most of the housing, and we're going to put up mixed income housing, so that it will be. It's called the New Communities Project. And it will be mixed income housing. There will be enough housing there for people who are of relatively low income, those who have middle income, and those who can pay market rate to be able to live in the same geographic area, the same blocks, if you will. One of the mistakes I think we made, 70, 80 years ago, was some of the housing policies in the city. And not only here, but across the nation. We basically pushed a lot of people who were economically challenged into the same areas, and it created problems. And so some of our children have been doomed by their geography, not by their ability. And those are the things that we want to resolve. We want to keep people in the city. We are growing rapidly. We now have 632,000 people here in the city. We have a population that is larger than Vermont, population larger than Wyoming. And we want people to be able to stay here. There is a term that everybody uses now that, has engendered fear in a lot of folks, and that is gentrification.
You know what? That was next on my list. As you talk about wanting to keep people here and all the good that is going on, next on my list to discuss was gentrification.
And it is a huge concern of people, and that is people don't want to be closed out. One of the things my budget will be transmitted to the council on next Thursday, on the 28th of March. And one of the headline will be, because of our prosperity in the city, I want to invest in affordable housing $100 million in order to be able to build between now and 2020 10,000 units of affordable housing. And for people who really are economically challenged, those whose household income is between 0 and 30% of the area median income, working to say that you may not have means, but this will continue to be a city where you can remain if you choose to. The other side of the equation, too, Rock, is not just saying that we're going to make sure we have housing that is affordable to people, but we're also working on the employment side, and that is getting people to a point where they actually can earn more money. I don't know a person who doesn't want to earn something, who doesn't want to be able to feel like they are, making their own way. And that is exactly what we're trying to do, to get people back to work through our One City, One Hire program. Since September of 2011, we've gotten 5,600 people jobs in the District of Columbia from all over the city. And interestingly enough, the overwhelming majority of those who we've gotten back to work live in wards 5, 7, and 8, where we had some of the highest unemployment levels imaginable.
Fantastic. I understand we have a caller on the line. There's one line left open. The telephone number to reach us to talk to Mayor Vince Gray is 202-889-9797. We have Simi on the line from Columbia Heights. Simi, welcome to America.
Thank you. Good to be on.
I saw that name, and S-I-M-I, and I could not resist that. Welcome to America. Thank you for calling.
That was the Eddie Murphy movie.
That's right.
Coming to
America.
Mayor Gray, I wanted to talk to you because I recently had the chance to talk with Tommy Wells from Ward 6. And with his upcoming campaign, he is focusing on making D.C. a more walkable city. What are your plans to do the same?
Well, I wish you had been following this, because we released just a few weeks ago our Sustainable DC plan. Have you not seen that?
I haven't.
Well, I want to make sure you get a copy. If you give us the information, we'll see that you get it.
Okay.
But the Sustainable DC Plan actually started with a vision statement that we released in April of 2012, excuse me. It focuses on a number of areas, initially on 7 to 9 areas, including things like jobs and the economy, health and wellness, the climate and the environment, water, transportation, just a host of things. And we now have a document that's been put together that has 143 initiatives in it, and it is a long-term plan. It is a 20-year plan that we already have started working on. For example, one of the goals is to be able to make the Anacostia River fishable and swimmable for everybody, which would be an enormous accomplishment. To to begin to diversify our transportation options here in the District of Columbia. You may know that we're bringing streetcars back to the District of Columbia. It's an initiative we're working on. The first line will be back by the end of 2013. We're working on what's called...
Where will that first line be?
It'll be on 8th Street and Outbenning Road. It'll be right around where Union Station is on 8th Street, and it will go out to right around Spingarn High School.
This is an exciting time for Washington, D.C.
It really is. It absolutely is, Rock.
Well, thank you. I hope to take a look at your plan, and thanks again.
Thanks, Simi.
Well, we can talk about that for another hour, can't we?
All right, thank you, Rock.
Thank you so much. To piggyback off of her question, I thought she was going to steal it from me. I saw an article or a comment that you made that you want Washington, D.C. to be the greenest city in the country.
That's right.
Talk about that.
The greenest, healthiest, most livable city in the nation. And that is exactly what our plan attempts to do. We actually have now, it's amazing how starting to be routinely people are thinking about green roofs. And that is, it is a great way of retaining storm water rather than having it run off. And what a lot of people don't realize is when the storm water runs off of a roof, runs into the street, it winds up into our catch basins, our sewers, and ultimately winds up in our river. It's one of the reasons why the Anacostia River is constantly polluted.
Yeah.
So with the green roofs, we're going to be able to retain storm water. It will be good for vegetation, but it also will be great for the environment. We actually have the largest number of square feet of green roofs in the nation.
You mentioned just a moment ago about making the Anacostia River fishable and swimmable. That would just be an absolute dream come true. And what I'm going to do here, folks, on the Rock Newman Show is we're going to go to break. Vince Gray is staying with us the entire hour. Again, you can reach us at 202-889-9797. We've got a lot more to cover with the mayor after these commercial messages.
Discussion continues after this on The Rock Newman Show. Discussion continues after this on The Rock Newman Show.
Welcome to the District of Columbia. We appreciate the activism that you stand for. And we also welcome We Act Radio. Welcome to the District of Columbia. We bring democracy, activism that you stand for. And we also welcome We Act Radio. Welcome to the District of Columbia. In the city. There's no way that we can, credibly go around the world, this nation, promoting democracy, and then not have it right in our nation's capital. And we hope that We Act will be a part of helping us to change that. We Act, do something.
And you can see 9 dimes every half an hour.
Hi, this is Chris Hedges, and when I'm in Washington, I don't want my news filtered through corporate sponsors. I want to hear the truth, which is why I listen to DC's only independent radio station, We Act Radio, 1480 AM, WPWC, Washington's progressive working community. We Act Radio, do something.
If you're caught with an ounce of cocaine, the chances are good you're going to go to jail. If it happens repeatedly, you may go to jail for the rest of your life. But evidently, If you launder nearly $1 billion for drug cartels and violate our international sanctions, your company pays a fine and you go home and sleep in your own bed at night, every single individual associated with this. And I think that's fundamentally wrong.
Good God! I got to ask you, what we need soul food. Henry soul food. No, we need it. Soul food. Henry soul food. No, I like it. Soul food. Henry soul food. No, we need it. Soul food. Henry soul food.
Home of the sweet potato pie. Even the keenest taste buds will tell you the best food on the planet. Large enough to serve you and small enough to know you. So get the Henrys at 5431 Indian Head Highway, Oxon Hill, Maryland, or give us a call at 301-749-6856.
Soul food. Henry soul food. What we need. Soul food. Henry soul food.
Pohanka Acura's huge March sales event is going on now. Get one of the new 2013 TLs for as low as $199 per month, or get the brand new 2013 MDX for only $254 a month. Come find out why price and selection have made Pohanka the world's largest.
Giving you the real on everything from politics, sports, and common everyday life issues. This is The Rock Newman Show.
Hi, I'm Tom Morello. Some call me the Night Watchman. In the case of Mumia Abu-Jamal's at a crucial stage, please go to freemumia.com to find out more information about how you can help Mumia Abu-Jamal and other political prisoners. Night Watchman out.
Hey, this is Leprechaun Tim Pohanka from Pohanka Nissan and Pohanka Hyundai. It's hard to be down on your luck when you're Virginia's first choice for new Nissan and Hyundais, but I need to sell 60 cars this week. Right now, I'll pay you big bucks for your good luck. Bring down any good luck charm you've got, and based on the sale price of the car you choose, I'll give you up to $4,777 off any nicer, newer car this week. Today, your lucky penny is worth plenty, up to $4,777 off any nicer, newer car you want. Stop moping and hoping you'll get approved. With my For the People credit approval process, the banks are looking to get lucky and lend to you, even if you've been turned down before. Bring me any good luck charm and I'll give you up to $4,777 off any nicer, newer car today. Hurry, once I get rid of 60 cars, the luck runs out. All offers require bank approval, so call us at 1-800-POHANKA, visit Pohanka Nissan and Pohanka Hyundai on Route 1 in Fredericksburg, or better yet, log on to TimPohankaForThePeople.com. And when we make a deal, I promise it'll be your lucky day. I'm Tim Pohanka, and I'm a leprechaun for the people.
Real talk, real issues, real life.
I got a new sheriff in town.
We now return to The Rock Newman Show.
Hi, Grandpa. We're in Kingman. I love you. Tomorrow I'm off school on Monday. I love you. Happy New Year.
And I want to welcome you back to the Rock Newman Show. Today, March 23rd, we have Washington, D.C., Mayor Vince Gray in studio. Before we go back to his honor, we also have, as one of our advertisers, the MGM Grand National Harbor. And I want you folks to be aware of this development that is coming in. It is an incredible project on the shores of the Potomac River over in Oxon Hill, Maryland. It will be something that will service the entire metropolitan area. I was with some of the folks from the MGM yesterday, and I saw some of the preliminary drawings, and they are nothing short of spectacular. It is going to be a project that is going to approach $1 billion to throw off just thousands of jobs, and the kind of it'll be an economic engine for this region, unlike much of what we've seen. And you will be able to enjoy your gaming, your entertainment, just untold foods and dining and culinary options. So as you see this coming down the pike, I just strongly urge you to look upon it, to be aware of the kind of jobs, if you're looking for a job in the future, and to support this incredible effort by the MGM Grand National Harbor. In the meantime, if you want to go get your gaming on, you can go to Detroit or any of their other great facilities. Certainly, they're the largest gaming corporate entity in the world and have everything to satisfy all of your pleasurable needs in Las Vegas if you want to go that way. But back here at home, Mayor Gray, there has been some talk about the term Washington, D.C. versus District of Columbia. Can you tell me what's behind sort of the move? We're looking to get away from Washington, D.C. and call D.C. the District of Columbia? Is that the official way to do it?
Yeah, that is our official name. And frankly, until we become the state of New Columbia, which I think will happen at some point, I want us to be able to have our own distinct identity. I've heard people say, we're the Washington on the East Coast and there's the other one on the West Coast, the state of Washington. So, again, it's about instilling pride in our city, making sure we have our own unique and distinct identity. And if you think about it, there's so many people over the years who've said, I'm from D.C., which of course is the District of Columbia. That is our official and formal name. That's what we're going to have on our tags rather than Washington, D.C. We're already working to change that.
As I told you, I drove around the city yesterday, and yesterday was, let's see, in the evening when I was going around, it was in the afternoon, more like 2-3 o'clock or so. I saw some homeless people. Now, actually, as I was doing the drive, given some of the reports that I've seen, I would have anticipated that I was going to see more people on the street than I actually saw. Recently, there were a couple of long articles in the Washington Post talking about the despair of the homeless. Can you tell us what's going on?
Well, I think when you look at homelessness, you've got to recognize, Rock, which I know you do, that we really have what I would say are three groups of people. We have, singles who, you see on the streets, individuals. Then we have homeless families, and they characteristically are young moms with maybe 1, 2, in some instances more children. And then we've seen an increasing problem with youth who are homeless. In fact, that's the group I used to work with before I became a member of the Council of the District of Columbia. I was the executive director of Covenant House, which is an organization that serves homeless youth. In fact, Covenant House used to have an outreach center right in this block, and now, of course, still has a very strong presence here in Ward 8. The people that you see on the streets, and there are places for people to go. There are people who refuse to go into our shelters. And they oftentimes are people who have mental health problems, people who have substance abuse problems, or people who have both. But there's a lot of outreach effort on the streets to try to get people to come into the shelters for singles. Some of them have, mental health problems of a very severe nature that they deal with every day, and they have a lot of suspicions and fears about going into shelters. And those are the folks that we try to work with as much as we can on the streets. But, again, by comparison to, say, 20, 25 years ago, we don't have nearly the number of people on the streets.
One of the things, one of those articles, it seemed to particularly be harsh about your facility, your homeless shelter at D.C. General Hospital. And I actually had the occasion to go over there. A dear friend of mine, and I'm yours also, Dick Gregory was doing a presentation over there. One of the groups that's working with them, I think, feeding the families there, arranged for Dick Gregory to go in and do a presentation. And man, he had it was very, very well attended. And I thought the irony was that one of the things they attempted to focus on was lack of nutrition or food or whatever. And I had gone there. It was an evening event. And I had been ripping and running all day, had very little to eat since early that morning. And I actually got one of their trays. And I can tell you something. It was something well, let me tell the truth. I got one tray. I ate it.
And you got another tray.
And then I got another tray. Speaking of my observation of the food there, but what I did see was how that center is actually housing families.
It is, and of course it is, these situations are portrayed sometimes in the most dramatic ways because that's the way journalism works, as we all know. But the conditions there are characteristically better than what they are portrayed as, but I would never, ever say that that's a place where we want, people to be, we want families to be.
Sure.
We've got young children there, and we're working the first thing we do, frankly, Rock, is to try to divert them from having to go there in the first place.
Sure.
And what a lot of people don't realize is that of every 10 families that we work with, 9 of them never wind up in the shelter. We're able to divert them in other ways with family, get them into a housing situation. There are any number of options that we exercise. And then of the 1 in 10 that come there, and the numbers really have increased in the last, I would say, last 18 months, we work to try to get them out of there as quickly as we possibly can because there's nothing more destabilizing than not having a place that you can call home. It's one of the reasons why, as I indicated earlier, we're going to put $100 million into affordable housing to try to get these families into permanent places. It also is a product of, as we recognize, a place that was affordable today that may not be affordable tomorrow. I had an interesting experience recently, having grown up on 6th Street Northeast, 6th and L. We grew up in an apartment that actually had been in my family, for years and years and years. My parents, when they first got married, moved in there. My brother and I grew up in that apartment. My brother, until he became very ill, he's so ill now he can't go back there. So we gave up the apartment about 8-9 months ago. Rock, I went past there the other day, and it's being renovated. It was sold, the building had 6 units, and it was sold for almost $900,000, which is beyond belief to me.
Yeah.
And they're now putting a lot of money into renovating it. And I say that simply to say that given where my family was and what we could afford, I know we wouldn't be able to go back there. And there's so many situations like that in the city. And that's a part of what we're seeing with our homeless families, that there's a shrinking pool of housing that they can afford. And what we're trying to do is to be able to preserve as much housing as we can so that we can continue to be a diverse city. We can continue to be a city where people can stay who want to be here.
Okay, again, there's so much to cover. Let's make a pretty big switch here. You came out, as far as I can remember, more vocally and more strongly than any of the local politicians that, in my memory, in talking about what has become a lightning rod issue. The Washington professional football team has a racist nickname, and you seem to call a spade a spade. I want to ask you 2 questions. If you can elaborate on your feelings about the name, and I know probably yourself like me, I've been a lifelong fan.
Absolutely.
So if you can talk, 1, about the name, and then 2, have there been any serious discussions about the possibility of the team coming back into the District of Columbia?
Well, it's a great question. Like you, I absolutely love our football team. I followed the team. I was so excited. I was hoping that they would draft RG3. They did. And, in his very first year, he really reignited interest in this team.
He electrified this region. Yeah.
And it's absolutely a shame that he got hurt, because who knows how far they would have gone into the playoffs. Think about it. They were up 14-0 on Seattle when he got hurt, and then, of course, they lost the game after that. So I say that simply to say that I am as big a lover of the team as anybody. What happened was, how this got started in the most recent situation was, I was at one of my press briefings, and somebody asked me the same question about the team coming back to the city, and what did I think about that? I said, well, I want the team back in the city. I'll work as hard as I possibly can to make that happen. And they said, well, where do you think they might go? I said, well, the most logical place is if you tear down RFK Stadium and build another stadium there. And the question was, do you think there'll be any issues associated with that? I said, well, I'm absolutely sure there will be some issues, because that's federal property. The team's name is inflammatory to a lot of people. The Redskins is considered to be a racist term by many. And I think there will be issues associated with it. And that kicked off this entire discussion. And, Rock, it's pretty amazing to me the number of people who have come up to me and said, we appreciate the fact that you put that issue on the table. When you step back and think about it, it is just incredible. Can you imagine, putting that in the context of some other racial and ethnic group in this nation? And maybe it hasn't become more of an issue to the people who are directly affected because we have so few Native Americans remaining.
Well, I had in studio last week at this very same hour, Dr. Susan Harjo, who was the lead plaintiff against the team, against the NFL, and we went into great depth on this particular subject. Mm-hmm. And I was, frankly speaking, more passionate than I had anticipated being. And I talked about it in very, very raw terms, in terms of it being a slur. And if it was called, and I didn't mince words. I said, if it was called the nigger skins, if it was called, any other name, but the redneck cracker skins,
total outrage.
Because you have to, to me, that is putting it in its proper context. When folks say, well, I don't find that offensive. Well, internalize it and personalize it, and perhaps you will. Absolutely. So hopefully, this struggle will continue, and we will get that changed. As I use the word struggle, I was mostly out of town in the Las Vegas area shortly after you won your election. And man, once your inauguration took place, there was a hailstorm of criticism. I was wondering when I saw you up close today if you were going to have some horns and a tail, because that's how you and your campaign were being made out to be. As I understand it, there is still an ongoing federal investigation. Now, one thing I was so impressed about in looking from afar is I never, Lord knows you were someone that personified, don't let them see you sweat. I don't know if you were sweating or not, but if you were, you sure didn't let them see you sweating. So there was an investigation that was launched. I don't think it is yet concluded from the most recent reports. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it is ongoing. And essentially what I've done is said, look, I have an attorney who's representing me in this situation, and I came here to do a job, and that's what I intend to do, and I'm going to do that every day. And not only, did I, quote unquote, as you say, not let them see me sweat, I wasn't sweating. I came here for a particular reason. I love this city. I'm a native of this city. I knew there were certain things that people deserved in this city, and I have focused on my job from day one. And I think the accomplishments speak for themselves. We talked about being able to focus on public safety. We have the lowest number of homicides in 51 years last year in the District of Columbia. We said we would focus on restoring fiscal stability. We now have a fund balance in the city of $1.5 billion. I don't think there's another state or city in America that can boast that.
Can you limit $20?
Might be a pretty hefty interest rate there, right? But anyway, we have really established fiscal stability in this city. We said we were going to get people back to work again, and we've been doing that. Our unemployment rate when we came in, right after we came in, was 11.2%. It is now 8.5%. It's come down almost 3 percentage points, despite the fact that we are in this climate of federal uncertainty with sequestration. They're talking about furloughs and people are losing their jobs and all that's associated with that at the federal level. You talked about the building boom in the city, and it is absolutely unprecedented. That is indeed the case. We said we were going to focus on sustainability. We talked about that earlier with Simi on the phone about being able to make the city the healthiest and greenest in the nation. We have focused on those things that we said we were going to do, and that is what has been my focus, the focus of my administration. I frankly have some of the most talented people imaginable working with me, and it's great to be able to go to work with them every day, to know that they're focused on the jobs that they came to do, and to know that we're making a difference. One of the most important things we're focusing on, Rock, is education. You know, getting our kids to the point where they can graduate from high school, that they have a skill set if they choose to go to work thereafter, or they can go on to college. Now, we've got a distance to travel. But I tell you, one of the things that I did the legislation when I was on the council, and now we've been working heartily on it since I've been mayor for the last 2+ years. And that is creating the most robust early childhood education program.
So critically important.
Critical. We are the only city in America that has universal pre-kindergarten. We have a seat for every 3- and 4-year-old.
I was going to say, what does that mean?
It means
universal pre-kindergarten.
Yeah, it means that we have a seat for every 3- and 4-year-old in the city whose family wants them to be in the program. And we do it in 3 ways. What I've tried to do, and we're doing now, is redefining when school starts. You know, historically people have said children should go to school when they're age 5. And I asked person after person, said, why is that? Why do you think that was a decision that was made? And people look at you like you have 3 heads at that point, because I don't think they know. Right. Somebody just made that decision. And by the way, I was at a lecture recently with 2 University of Washington researchers who made the point, which some of us have believed for some time, 92% of brain development has already occurred by the time a child is 5 years of age.
Wow.
Which means we've lost a tremendous opportunity if we wait until they're 5. So we now are getting kids into our D.C. public schools at age 3. We're getting them into our charter schools at age 3 and in our child care centers. I'm now moving to try to get more infants and toddlers into programs because especially in some of our economically, socially challenged areas of the city, we can help those kids by getting them in programs early, and frankly, we can help their parents too. It'll allow their parents to get out and get a job. It will allow their parents, frankly, to be able to know how to be able to be better parents as a result of that. It's one of the most important things we can do, and frankly, you connect the dots. If we get these kids going earlier, get them a better education, it's going to make the employment issue as they get older much easier to solve.
Well, I just got a flash that we are running down on time, but I really want to get in a few subjects, get your quick comments on. Is Obama a friend of Washington, D.C. or the District of Columbia?
I think he has been. You know, there are people who think he should have done more. I wish he had been very much more vocal on the issue of budget autonomy.
Yes.
But he has put it in his budget last year. We wanted him to talk about it in the State of the Union speech. They had other things that they wanted to talk about, but he has had it in his budget, and I think it will be in his fiscal year 14 budget again. He put the tags on to say taxation without representation, right. Which is symbolic, but at least it is a step in the right direction. And one of the things that he did with me in the very early going, because I met with him in the early going, was his agencies, like Health and Human Services and the Department of the Interior, the Department of Education. They worked very closely with us in the city. We have very close relationships with those secretaries, and they've done a number of things for the city. So I would say, yeah, I wish there was more that was done, but I think he's done a lot for the city.
Yeah. Vince Gray's biggest disappointment as mayor?
Well, I think about this a lot, and I tell you, it was difficult to come up with an answer because we've had so many successes as mayor. I had one recently where, we've wanted to do more for small business. Our Certified Business Enterprises in the District of Columbia, our CBE program. We had a piece of legislation we advanced that we felt would, open more doors to our small businesses. And by the way, Rock, more than 75% of our businesses in the city are small businesses.
Classified as small business.
That's right. So the legislation got changed when it got into the council, and ultimately it really created some issues for us. I won't go into all of what they are because it would take more time than we have. And I ultimately vetoed the legislation, not because I really wanted to. I wanted to move this forward, but I knew that we would have more problems than we had solved as a result of this legislation. So we actually are starting all over again. I just appointed a task force to work with us. In 60 days or less than 60 days, we'll have a new piece of legislation. We'll move it forward into the council, and hopefully they will move quickly on it to help solve some of the problems that were created by the previous legislation. But I really wanted to be able to be, wherever I was on this day. I happen to be here, of course.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Wherever I was, I wanted to be able to stand up and say, we really have moved the ball down the field for our small businesses, and we have not gotten there yet.
I'm going to keep it to 3, if you can. Your top Vince Gray successes as mayor.
Well, some of those I've talked about.
Yeah.
First of all, and that is bringing back fiscal stability.
Right.
$1.5 billion in the bank. We still got a lot of challenges ahead to be able to meet those, but the fiscal stability that we have restored, getting people back to work, bringing down that unemployment rate the way that we have, and my early childhood education programs. There are many more I could cite. In fact, we've got a book that I'm going to leave with you that is about 20 plus pages that talks about our accomplishments. But those are the top 3 among many that I could cite, Rob.
And it says, and I'll hold it up for those that are viewing locally and around the world at www.rocknewmanshow.com. It says, Gray Administration Year 2 Report. There are it's really impressive. And frankly speaking, a lot of folks put stuff out and, you can't necessarily verify it. But this is something, folks, that is verifiable. You care to make any breaking news here on the Rock Newman Show on March the 23rd? Let's see. My note says, Vince Gray's future intention.
Well, my immediate...
Just between me and you.
Right. And limited to your closest 10,000 friends, right? My immediate intentions are to continue to do our job, to do the job that we set out to. Somebody has said to me once, and I think it's true, that good service is good politics. And I have believed right from the very start of my career as a council member and on through being the mayor that serving the people the way we promised and try to meet those needs as best we can is a great way of letting people know that you've done the job and will continue to do the job. So that's what I'm focused on right now, and that is getting the job done. We will continue to do that, and when other decisions are ready to be made, we'll make them.
Fantastic. I really, really want to thank you and your staff for being able to put your schedule together in a way that you were able to join us for an hour today. I certainly would like to have you back on a recurring basis.
I'd like to do that.
As a matter of fact, as we speak to the people in Washington D.C. and the metropolitan area. Folks, I want to let you know that we've got one more hour of the Rock Newman Show. Coming up is going to be Jimmy Lee Solomon, formerly of Major League Baseball, and Kerry Davis, Vice President of Sports Acquisition and Programming at HBO. Mayor Gray, again, thank you so very much for joining us here,
Thank you,
1480 and the Rock Newman Show. Folks, we'll be back momentarily. Don't touch that dial and stay plugged in around the world at www.rocknewmanshow.com.
welcome to the District of Columbia. We appreciate the activism that you stand for, and we hope that you will be an integral part of our effort to free D.C., to bring democracy to the District of Columbia so that we can approve our own budget, we can approve our own laws, and that we can get rid of taxation without representation in this city. There's no way that we can credibly go around the world, this nation, promoting democracy and then not have it right in our nation's capital. And we hope that WeAct will be a part of helping us to change that. WeAct, do something.
What do you care about? We'll find out when the discussion continues after this on The Rock Newman Show. You're listening to WeAct Radio, WPWC 1480 AM. Visit us online at weactradio.com.
Hi, I'm Tom Morello. Some call me the Night Watchman. In the case of Mumia Abu-Jamal at a crucial stage, please go to freemumia.com to find out more information about how you can help Mumia Abu-Jamal and other political prisoners. Night Watchman out.
Let me tell you who to blame. Blame the boy lying at your feet, his body oozing life through the hole in his stomach where the bullet tore him apart. Blame him for challenging you, for not looking away and for not backing down when you pulled out the gun. Blame your mother for bringing you into this world when she was but a kid herself and for dragging you up, not bringing you up. Blame society for not giving you hope. Blame your father for not being there, the man who looked after himself instead of looking after you. Blame the gun in your hand for making you a target, for making you more likely to be picked on. Blame the dead boy, blame your mother, blame society, blame your father, blame the gun, blame anyone but yourself for not being strong enough to put down the gun, to break the cycle.
I'm Gary Johnson, former governor of New Mexico. Last year, my state became the 12th state to allow medical use of marijuana by patients who are seriously ill. Some people were surprised that a Republican governor supports medical marijuana, but I'm hardly alone. Groups like the American College of Physicians, American Nurses Association, and American Public Health Association have all acknowledged the medical value of marijuana. New research about medical marijuana is coming out almost every day, showing remarkable potential in all sorts of serious conditions, including cancer, AIDS, and chronic pain. But some in government still want to put politics and ideology ahead of public health. To learn more about medical marijuana and what you can do to help, contact the Marijuana Policy Project at 1-877-JOIN-MPP or visit them on the web at mpp.org. Thanks.
Giving you the real on everything from politics, sports, and common everyday life issues. This is The Rock Newman Show.
My baby drives a handcuff.
The weekend is here, and no matter what the weather's like outside, you'll find the deals inside here in the beautiful showroom of the all-new Pohanka Hyundai in Capitol Heights during their giant Markdown Madness sale.
Smart shoppers know that every new Hyundai in Pohanka comes with Hyundai Assurance and America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. But why don't you tell them about the Markdown sale, Joe?
I'll be happy to, Kim. Folks, shop around on the web, and you'll see lease payments on a new 2013 Elantra GLS at $179 a month. Today at Pohanka Hyundai, $99 a month. That's right, a $99 payment on a brand new Elantra.
And $89 a month on a new 2013 Accent GLS Automatic. How do they do it, Joe?
It must be the volume, Kim. A brand new building, hundreds of new Hyundais, and Pohanka's low payment and easy credit programs are designed to get everybody driving. But you have to get here today. Rush to the giant Markdown Madness sale at exit 13 off the Capitol Beltway.
Pohanka Hyundai, king of the Beltway. All financing for a limited term on approved HMF credit.
My baby drives a handcuff.
This is Kimon Freeman, host of Speak Easy and co-founder of WeAct Radio. Suicide is a very serious problem in today's challenging world, whether with our troops abroad or with everyday citizens within our own society. Before you take your life into your own hands, tie a knot at the end of your rope and call the suicide hotline toll-free at 1-855-320-LIFE. That's 1-855-320-LIFE. It may just be the most important call you ever make. You talk, we listen, and together we survive.
It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under.
Do you have a case of the saggy Maggies? Or those uncontrollable falling bra straps? Ooh, how annoying! Well, Bra Leaf is your solution. Bra Leaf is made of a soft elastic band and you can adjust its length for narrow to wide bra straps. With Bra Leaf, the results are amazing. Get the lift you've always wanted. Try Bra Leaf, the premium adjustable bra clip, at braleaf.com. That's BRALIEF.com. Try it today.
Brand new Accords get up to 36 miles to the gallon, and you can buy any new Honda at Pohanka at 0% for 60 months, or get an entire year's worth of gas with any new purchase. Get the deals now at PohankaHondaFredericksburg.com. Why pick Pohanka? It's the gas!
Real talk, real issues, real life.
I got a new sheriff in town.
We now return to the Rock Newman Show.
I want to welcome you back to the Rock Newman Show on today, March 23rd, 2013. It is a spectacularly beautiful day here in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. If you care to join us in conversation, you have a question, comment for my guest this hour, please feel free to give us a call at 202-889-9797. I've entitled this particular hour, Three Wise Men. And for those of you that are listening and watching around the world, I use the term three wise men in order to give you an idea and to give young kids an idea about making wise decisions in their lives. You know, we too much have children that spend their time on the playground, spend their time on the football field, spend their time in the boxing ring, dreaming of being a professional athlete. And you know something? Pretty much all of us have done that at one time or the other. But I see so many kids who focus their time, who focus their lives on honing their skills on the court, who focus their skills on the football field, but don't really focus their time and attention to developing themselves in their educational pursuits, which would be a foundation that no one can take from them. That is a foundation and a springboard for success. So I have two gentlemen on the line who also were athletes, but who understood the value of getting an education, because frankly speaking, neither one of them were that good of athletes. if I can make that introduction. But no, I have two gentlemen who have really gone to the top of their professions. They are folks that have, gone through the Ivy League schools and really prepared themselves for a life beyond the games that they played. And the two gentlemen I am talking about on the phone with me from New Jersey is Kerry Davis. He is the Senior Vice President for Sports Programming and Acquisitions for HBO and Time Warner. Kerry Davis, welcome to the Rock Newman Show.
Hey, Rock, what's happening?
All is great, and you're a better ball player than what I gave you great credit for. So I hear.
Jimmy Lee was, you're about to be exactly for me for sure.
and in studio with me, this is the gentleman that I characterized in my Facebook postings along the week here as one of America's most eligible bachelors. I said many things that I thought were true in my postings, and that was that he was somewhat handsome, he was well educated, he got some coins in his pockets, and he wasn't yet betrothed, and so in my eyes that made him one of America's most eligible bachelors. Jimmy Lee Solomon, welcome to the Rock Newman Show.
Thank you, Rock. I appreciate being here.
Hey man, we can start anywhere. So let me pick a spot, and that spot would be this week. I think it finalized this week. The ball players from the Dominican Republic won the World Series,
World Baseball Classic.
World Baseball Classic, beating Puerto Rico.
Yes, sir.
And tell me something. This was the United States, our inner cities, our farms, wherever it might have been. There was a point in time where we were the promised land for baseball talent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to come back to us not necessarily being that promised land anymore, as much as it once was. But I'd like for you to give voice to why it is the proliferation of excellent, outstanding, superstar baseball players that are coming from the Dominican Republic and from Latin America?
Well, it's a very simple answer. If you look at the fact that baseball in Latin America is a primary sport. You know, it's soccer and baseball. But you look at the Dominican Republic, Major League Baseball has 30 clubs. All 30 clubs have facilities in the Dominican Republic. Many of the clubs
Each of the Major League Baseball teams have
Yes, they have facilities in the Dominican Republic.
Right.
Another 5 to 10 have facilities in Venezuela. Others have facilities in Panama, Brazil, and other countries in Latin America. What has happened is all the development has gone offshore. So all these developments are taking place there. Now, there are academies in the United States, but not to that degree. And most times when kids grow up in the United States, they can decide between football, basketball, baseball, as well as a proliferation of other sports. But in the Dominican Republic, it's sole source for the most part. And we, of course, cultivate that. Well, Major League Baseball cultivates.
And when you say there are these facilities, these baseball teams, the Washington Nationals, the New York Mets, the New York Yankees, on and so forth, every team have these facilities. These facilities are doing what on those islands?
They have academies. These academies, for the most part, teach baseball instruction. Now, there are English instruction. They do try to give some education, but baseball instruction is the major reason those academies are there.
What do you think are the primary reasons for the lack of development of baseball players? Let's start where we are now, right now in the inner city, Washington, D.C., as the mayor said, the District of Columbia. There has been a dramatic fall off in the last 30 years. Dramatic fall off. There was a point in time when Anacostia and Ballou and Spingarn and all those teams, I remember in the 70s, they were very competitive and had some prospects on the team. That is non-existent now. Why?
Well, in the mid-'70s, baseball reached its high point of African-American participation on the field, 27%. If you look back at the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and probably going into the 70s, the three major sports in our country were horse racing, boxing, and baseball. Football and basketball had not reached the pinnacle yet. Once football and basketball did reach the pinnacle, a lot of the athletes, African-American athletes, went to football and basketball. Now you say, why did that happen? I will say because in a lot of respects, baseball is a very expensive sport to play. You need a lot of green space, a lot of maintenance, and a lot of times in urban America, that monies weren't there. In the budgets for redevelopment, when you had a recreational component, you put something that was less expensive and needed less space, a basketball blacktop and a goal. And if you were trying to play baseball, everybody needed a glove, everybody needed cleats, you needed all these things that if you weren't playing basketball, you wouldn't need. If you had one basketball in the neighborhood, everybody could play. Baseball is not the case. So all of these sports started migrating toward the suburbs. And if you look at the fact that when football and basketball started sharing the athletes, and if you start looking at the fact that success in baseball is less based on athleticism than it is in football and basketball. Baseball is a collection of skills, usually learned very early in life and usually taught by a male member of the family. And you, Rock, played baseball. You understand that. I mean, basically, you can't just...
I turned the hot corner cool.
Yeah, I bet you did. Folklore at Howard University, I understand. But if you took an athlete who was a tremendous athlete, never played football, basketball, or baseball, introduced him to those three sports at age 17, he'd have a more likely chance of being successful in football and basketball.
I 100% agree.
Less so.
I 100% agree.
Virtually nil in baseball.
Absolutely. Kerry Davis and Jimmy Lee, I want to come back to you with the same question. Kerry Davis, do me a favor. You have a very impressive resume, a very impressive bio. But for those who might not know who you are, have read about your career, I'd really like for you to take me on a journey from Kerry Davis as a child in terms of where you grew up, what your influences were, where you ended up going to school, and kind of bring us up to date on your career path. And then we're going to get into some other issues.
Oh, great. Thanks, Rock. First of all, I wanted to say hi to Jimmy.
Hey, Gary, how you doing?
Jimmy and I we went to the same college.
I actually helped Kerry on his homework when he was in college.
Did?
Yeah, I took him under my wing and I kind of helped him out.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a year older. Anyway, but yeah, no, I grew up in the Bronx, and my influence was basketball. I played basketball at an early age, starting in the AAU programs in the Bronx, and I eventually played for my high school team.
Now, let me tell you, let's just stop right there. So you grew up in the Bronx. Basketball was your influence. Seems as if I'm getting some feedback, if my engineers here can help me. Who was the person, was there a single person as an athlete that inspired you in basketball, that sort of Kerry Davis wanted to become this particular person?
Well, I was a New Yorker, so Walt Clyde Frazier owned the city back then.
Yes.
And so I went to see Clyde. I wore his number. As soon as I could grow facial hair, I let it grow as much as possible. I had the big fro, and
Did you have
the outfits that he was.
Did you have any white fur coats?
I couldn't afford a white fur coat, but I had the faux fur.
Okay.
The faux fur for sure, which my mother always joked about. She went out and bought me a faux fur, and I took it to the basketball on the basketball court. In a strange neighborhood, and somebody took it the first day I wore it. So.
Hey, Kerry, let me ask you, is there any chance that you might, or if you're on speakerphones, any chance you might be able to go on regular?
I'm actually not on the speakerphone, but let me change phones.
It's all good. This is live. This is what happens on live radio. This is what happens on live. This ain't no Memorex. This is live radio. So these are the kind of things we do and the kind of things we deal with.
Is this better?
Yeah, that's better. We can make it work. Okay, so you grew up in the Bronx. You were really attracted to basketball. Clyde Frazier was sort of a real inspiration for you. Take us on.
And then I started to the biggest influence for me growing up, and I always say this to young people. I was a product of a single family household. I didn't really know my father at all. And for me, it was actually the church. It was a Catholic priest who basically rescued me, if you will, from thinking that basketball and the kids on the street were going to be my life. And he, taught me about education, taught me about being a young African American and potentially being a leader in the community. And he said, listen, the only way to do this is through education. It's not going to be, you're 5'10", you're not going to be Walt Frazier. So, and that was a turning point for me, and he turned me on to the idea of even going to an Ivy League school. So whereas my teammates in high school, and I played on a city championship type high school team, whereas my teammates were all talking these Division I basketball scholarships, he had me looking at, being able to play the sport I love, but playing it on an Ivy League level. And that's how I got to Dartmouth, and that's where I met Jimmy.
Wow. Okay. And so now you go to Dartmouth. I really do, for my listening audience, I really want them to see sort of your track all the way up until where we are now. So if you continue on through Dartmouth, you met Jimmy Lee, and
I helped him on his homework.
You helped him. Jimmy helped you on your homework. Brought you kicking and screaming to those C+ grades.
Well, it's funny because being just a basketball junkie, I wanted to continue with basketball. I played 3 years
at Dartmouth.
At Dartmouth, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Back then, you couldn't play varsity as a freshman.
Right.
All right. So I played as a sophomore and junior, and actually hurt my knee my senior year. And I wanted to go into coaching. I thought that was where my future would lie. And quite frankly, again, there was another male figure at this time, my basketball coach, who stepped in and said, "Listen, there are a number of African American coaches, around. What you have an opportunity, with your grades and and leadership skills that you can do something different." And so, again, that's when I first started thinking about the idea of potentially going either to business school or law school. I ended up going to law school at Cornell. I was a graduate assistant there, so I was able to, both, satisfy my basketball junkie and also, go on to go to law school. And then that really started my career.
And started your career, keep going, kind of sort of jump right in, because, part of what I'm doing, want to try to do here, Kerry, is by example, is absolutely by example, utilize, you guys coming on here and being those examples to kids that are out there listening who don't quite have the examples perhaps in their home or in their neighborhood. So you after that juncture, take us on through your work career.
I worked the traditional law school route. You get to law school and I'm competitive, and you want to get into that idea of working for the biggest firm, making the most money, and so I did that for 4 years. I worked for a big Wall Street firm in New York. But that wasn't ever my real passion. My passion was always still sports and entertainment. And at the time, my aunt, a woman named Vi Higginson, who was actually a radio disc jockey in New York at the time, she wrote a musical about her sister, obviously my older aunt, and they called it "Mama, I Want to Sing," and it was about her sister growing up in the church and wanting to sing gospel music, wanting to sing secular music.
Hey, Kerry, it's okay to drop names on the Rock Newman show. That was Doris Troy, whose great big hit was
Just One Look.
Just One Look. That's all it took.
Yeah,
Just one.
Exactly.
I'm not going to quit my day job.
Please don't.
She was also the first artist signed on the Beatles label in England. So she lived here. Most of her career took place in the UK.
And I will say something that I would bet that the listening audience that is out there today in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, Mama I Want to Sing stayed on off-Broadway for how I remember it was years. I was living in New Jersey and had an office in Manhattan during much of the time that it ran. Interestingly enough, Kerry, I don't know if I ever told you this, but my wife's company supplied the much of the merchandising and paraphernalia for Mama I Want to Sing. I don't know if I ever shared that with you.
Wow, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Washington was a terrific market for the show. As a matter of fact, it turned out to be something interesting for me because the show was a huge hit in New York. It was doing gangbusters in New York, and my aunt, I was the lawyer for the show, and my aunt asked me if I was interested in being the executive producer for the road show. And the very first city that we played was Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
And so we only had 4 weeks booked. We had 2 weeks in Washington and 2 weeks in Philly. We were in Washington at the Warner Theater downtown. And those 4 weeks actually changed my life because, I was thinking I would take a leave of absence from my law firm, do this little, 4, 5, 6 week run, and, then go back to the firm. Well, when the show was such a huge success in Washington, it showed us that we could play the show in other cities. And I ended up leaving the firm and becoming the executive producer of the touring company. And then that show ended up, playing all across America.
This is fascinating stuff. I have on the line with me Carrie Davis from HBO and Jimmy Lee Solomon in studio, one of America's most eligible bachelors, and his last stint was for several years with Major League Baseball, when really he was overseeing what was going on the field and really helping to develop the grand old game. I'm going to be back in just a moment. Don't touch that dial. Stay tuned. We'll be back in a couple of minutes after these commercial messages.
The Rock Newman Show will be back after this.
Take Action News with David Schuster, Saturdays from 12 to 3 on We Act Radio, 1480 AM and weactradio.com.
Well, for me, it's always been, you report the facts. You report like hell, let the chips fall where they may. And the truth ultimately is what's going to sort of help our society and help all of us. I don't think progressives want a thumb on the scale on the facts. They just want the facts out there. You let the facts out, and progressives will tell you, we're going to win 70% of the time. You may quibble with the percentages or whatnot, but I think that's just sort of what progressives are looking for, and I think that's where this all sort of meshes with my interest as a journalist. And my interest as a journalist is report the facts, here's what's going on, here's what the facts say, here's what history says, here are the lessons we know we have learned, and let people draw their own conclusions. And I think what's so unfortunate right now in the world of broadcast media is I do think that a lot of conservative radio, certainly conservative television, they're not interested in facts. And that's ultimately where I think conservative media is going to have its downfalls, that Americans are hungry. They're just hungry for basic information, hungry for basic facts. You report like hell, you let the chips fall where they may. I think it's natural for all of us who care, who are passionate about politics, who feel like we have a sense about the difference between right and wrong. I think it's okay to let that be part of your coverage. It's important for all of us as broadcasters and journalists. In this day and age, we have to be authentic. You can't be the person who's up in the ivory tower that comes down and tells people, now you must eat your peas. No, it's all about, we all have personalities, and I think it's being aware sometimes of our own bias, but also being open to the idea that sometimes we're wrong, but we have a dialogue, and we have a passionate dialogue, and we care about this country, we care about this community, and I think that sort of passion is what carries us through.
Hear more from David Schuster, Saturdays from 12 to 3 on Take Action News on We Act Radio, 1480 AM and weactradio.com.
The prodigal son of the DMV is back. Ladies and gentlemen, show your love for Rock Newman on The Rock Newman Show.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Hello, my name is Antonio Ford from A Plus Fitness. I've been studying foods, nutrition, and the anatomy of the body for well over 23 years. One thing about an animal-based diet is it kills people in every bite. It kills you by restricting blood and oxygen from flowing freely throughout your arteries, thus causing all kinds of life-threatening health problems and issues. The people of America and abroad look to America's FDA, Food and Drug Administration, for leadership and a guide. And they have failed us tremendously, from prostate to heart disease, from breast cancer, or from eating meat. If you want the blueprint for healthy eating, stay tuned to We Act Radio for more information, or contact us at aplus.fitness@yahoo.com. Again, that's aplus.fitness@yahoo.com, or give us a call at area code 202-903-6323. Remember, it's one bite at a time.
Pohanka Acura's huge March sales event is going on now. Get one of the new 2013 TLs for as low as $199 per month, or get the brand new 2013 MDX for only $254 a month. Come find out why price and selection have made Pohanka the world's largest.
Hi, I'm Tom Morello. Some call me the Night Watchman. In the case of Mumia Abu-Jamal's at a crucial stage, please go to freemumia.com to find out more information about how you can help Mumia Abu-Jamal and other political prisoners. Night Watchman out.
We Act Radio is a very proud partner of the Start at Westminster, a harm reduction, prevention, and awareness initiative sponsored by the Westminster Presbyterian Church right here in D.C. START stands for Syringe, Treatment, Advocacy, Resources, Training. These are the core elements of the harm reduction philosophy at START. The goal of this program is to reduce transmissions of HIV, hepatitis, and other bloodborne infectious diseases by empowering those at risk of infection with the tools, resources, and referrals they need to take charge of their health. Over the past year, the Start at Westminster tested over 1,600 people, and they're averaging about 150 tests each month. And of course, with the proper funding, that number could go even higher. For more information on this terrific program, go to www.startatwestminster.org or visit the Westminster Presbyterian Church, 400 I Street Southwest, right here in Washington, D.C.
Real talk, real issues, real life.
I got a new sheriff in town.
We now return to the Rock Newman Show.
And welcome back, folks. Today, March 23rd, 2013, a absolutely beautiful day here in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. I have in studio with me the world-famed Jimmy Lee Solomon, and online with me from New Jersey, Kerry Davis, who was just talking about the off-Broadway play and his role, Mama, I Want to Sing. Kerry, we're going to pick up with your with your journey, and Jimmy Lee, I certainly want to talk about yours because both of you guys I find absolutely fascinating. Before we do that, we have some callers on the line. Let's go to caller number one, and that is Ron from Northeast Washington, D.C. Ron, welcome to the Rock Newman Show.
Welcome, gentlemen. I wanted the gentleman to address the issue of racism in baseball. I used to play baseball right here in Southeast D.C. My baseball field was at 23rd and Savannah Street, and if you saw that field right now, you say, how could anybody play baseball on that thing? It was slanted. It wasn't a baseball field, but that's all we had. But, that was back in the 70s, and there's been such a reduction in African-American baseball players. When you look at the College World Series, for example, in those playoffs, you don't see many black players on those college teams. And I've personally seen the lack of black participation in Little League baseball franchises. And I was wondering if there was if we're witnessing some sort of white backlash against black athletes in baseball because of the prominence in basketball and football. Has baseball become and hockey become the last bastion of white athletic participation? And is that reason when I'm seeing young black ball players encouraged to stay with the sport through Little League and through college?
Okay, Ron, let's let Jimmy Lee take a shot at that.
Well, I mean, of course, if you want to ask if there's racism in baseball, there's racism in our society. So actually, our baseball is comprised of people from our society, so I think it naturally follows. But what I will say is I don't think that there is a movement in baseball necessarily to have fewer African-American athletes per se.
You don't feel like it's a conspiracy?
I don't think it's a conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what I think it is. A perfect storm took place. One, if you look at the number, he talked about the college numbers and how low they are. In baseball, there are 11.7 scholarship opportunities at a Division I NCAA school. In football, there are 85 scholarships.
Wow.
Just do the math.
Wow.
So if you had a kid and you needed help to go to college and your kid was great in baseball and great in football, where are the best chances to get a full scholarship? Football, of course.
Jimmy Lee, let's talk about this for a second, because I've introduced you as formerly with Major League Baseball. More recently, you have separated from Major League Baseball. I did a lot of research. I saw several articles, but they all basically said no one had commented about why Jimmy Lee Solomon, who was one step away from the commissioner's seat, if you will, is no longer with baseball. Now, and let me frame it this way. Throughout the industry, I have been around the baseball circuit a bit, and universally, whether it was from minor league teams who had benefited, owners of minor league teams who had benefited from your initiatives, or whether it was professional baseball players and coaches and general managers, you were universally applauded by baseball people. You are no longer with you. Look, not only were you universally applauded, there was a general consensus, in my opinion, at a time, that you were the leading candidate to become the commissioner of baseball should Bud Selig step down. Now, with that kind of backdrop, having framed it that way, and I don't think anything is inaccurate about what I've said, I certainly know the kind of communication and the feedback that I have gotten. You now no longer with baseball, and nobody has said why. Can you talk to us here? As I said to Vince Gray in the last hour, just between us folks.
Well, what I can say is I had a 21-year career at Major League Baseball. I did start by running the minor league system, and rose to a point where I was running all of baseball. I ran baseball operations. I oversaw major league operations, minor league operations, international operations. I oversaw the umpires, security, all the facilities, all the discipline, the urban youth academies, the civil rights game. I oversaw everything. And but there comes a time when you have a certain vision for the industry, and others in the industry have different visions. And when that happens, Rock, it's sometimes very hard to make both of them comport in a cohesive business plan. And so what happened was...
Do that mean there was a disagreement about how to move forward?
Well, in moving forward and where the focus would be on certain elements, I became very, very interested in bringing, academies to urban areas. We built the Compton Academy. We built another academy in the Acres Home area of Houston, Texas. We built one in San Juan, Puerto Rico. We built one also in the Pontchartrain Park area, the Barrow facility in New Orleans. We had contracts to build two more on my watch, one in Philadelphia and one in Miami. A lot of my time and effort and interest went into that. And I had a lot of focus on that. And then we created the civil rights game, where we wanted baseball to basically stand up for its part and its role with Jackie Robinson and the civil rights movement. Yes. And then reaffirm that dedication through an embracing of diversity issues. Mm-hmm. So those things became paramount to me, became very important. Now, that did not impact what I call my day job.
Just let me ask you just on that point about the Jackie Robinson game. Mm-hmm. Does memory serve me properly that it was 1997 and the first game was at the Met Stadium, at Shea Stadium? Was that the first game?
They were doing Jackie Robinson celebrations at various ballparks, but when we first got into it and made it an overall league initiative, it was at Met Stadium.
Yeah, I think I was at that game.
Uh-huh.
I actually think I was at that game. Yeah, and what a great feeling it was that particular night with the kind of honor that was given to Jackie Robinson. But let me please allow you to continue about what was your departure from Major League Baseball, and why is it that there has been such silence from Major League Baseball about your departure?
Well, I can't speak to why Major League Baseball has been quiet about it, but I feel that there are times you need to just move on. That's been a long time there. I also wanted a certain career progression.
Yes.
And after a while, when you see that, sometimes people higher up don't move on. They stay. I was not getting any younger. And so there comes a time when you need to kind of figure out what else it is you can do in society. I have a demonstrated interest in making sure that young people have an opportunity, people who look like me especially, have an opportunity to reach whatever dream they have. And I wanted to keep that going and not have it forestalled in a bureaucratic system that maybe didn't want to let me do the full things that I felt we should be doing. And so it's baseball's right to determine who's going to be carrying out their initiatives. And it's my right to determine how I want to live the rest of my life.
Folks who are watching via the live streaming on the World Wide Web and that are listening, I made a very conscious decision to have these two gentlemen on today because I wanted you to be able to say to your children and hopefully have your children to listen in or to watch this particular program. Those who spend so very much time on the basketball court, on the football field, in the boxing ring, whose dreams are really limited to just being a professional athlete. It is minuscule. It is absolutely minuscule, the number of success stories. For every Kobe Bryant, for every Magic Johnson, for every Larry Bird, there are hundreds of thousands of people that don't make it and who end up with really sad, broken dreams. And these two gentlemen who are participating in this program right now are really an example to show you can be very involved in sports. If you just heard what Jimmy Lee was talking about, Jimmy Lee really ran baseball. You know, he might not be a worldwide recognized figure, but his influence on the game truly has been immeasurable. A lot of you don't know that. That's why you ought to listen to the Rock Newman Show, because you can find out those kind of things. And you might not have known it, but now you do. Kerry, let's get back to Kerry Davis, who is still currently with HBO. Run me through. You were doing, your life changed. You came to Washington, D.C. At the Warner Theater. You brought Mama I Want to Sing here. Take us from there.
Well, the Mama I Want to Sing, that the tour, actually, that the national tour that I was the executive producer for, actually ended up running for about 4 years. Played everywhere in the United States. Basically played almost everywhere in the world. We played Tokyo, we played Italy, we played all over Europe. So it was Germany. So it was it was a tremendously successful tour, and a real eye opener for me in terms of a learning opportunity to find out about not only making deals for theatrical shows, but we then started getting into the music business. We started getting into the television business as opportunities started coming our way. So it was a great learning experience for me, and it certainly that tour made me the well-rounded executive that I probably became as a result of it.
Kerry, just again, a little bit of information that I think that our listening and public and viewing public would be able to connect to. Do I remember correctly that the New York Knicks guard for a long time, Mark Jackson, actually married the lead in Mama I Want to Sing, Desiree, I can't remember her last name.
Yeah, Desiree Coleman Jackson.
Desiree Coleman.
Yes. Desiree was the original lead of Mama I Want to Sing was Tisha Campbell from... Well, I guess what was that show?
Martin.
Martin show. Right,
yeah.
Correct. Yeah, the original lead was Tisha Campbell. Then Desiree Coleman, who was actually Miss Teen USA, as a matter of fact. We ended up finding her when Tisha left, and Desiree was the artist who was the lead who really took the show over the top. And Mark actually met her while she was performing in Mama I Want to Sing.
Okay. We're going to hopscotch around here. Jimmy Lee, I'm going to come back to you. I haven't gotten as much of your bio as I want to, and I really do want to do that. But one of the things that I wanted to ask, your opinion of having spent 21 years in Major League Baseball at the very top level, having had a chance, I would hope, to think about this subject. Who had the greater influence on the game of baseball, if you can choose one? Curt Flood, who opened the floodgates for free agency, and these big salaries that we hear talked about today, and sort of what is a greater sense of independence for the baseball player, or Jackie Robinson, who is obviously credited with integrating the game?
Hands down, Jackie Robinson.
Tell me why.
Curt Flood did impact baseball players' existence, their lives, their independence. But Jackie Robinson influenced America. The civil rights movement, when we think about it, we kind of go into the 60s, and we stay there with Dr. King. We talk about Rosa Parks not going to the back of the bus. We talk about Brown v. Board of Education. We talk about integration of public schools. We talk about integration of the armed forces. Jackie Robinson walked onto the diamond for the Dodgers before any of that happened. He was the grand experiment for our entire society to see if blacks and whites could not only play together, but succeed together. And he did that basically with the eyes of America watching him. And that was the experiment that kicked off, I feel, the grand experiment of all the other integration policies that took place there.
What an incredible responsibility that chocolate prince had on his shoulders, and what superhuman discipline and dignity and restraint that he had to exercise and to demonstrate to go through the process of being thrown at, people trying to injure him, being spat at, being called everything except, the son of God. If you go back in time and think in terms of the climate in America at that time, and just with the virulent racism that was rampant, for this man to take that on his shoulders and to perform the way that he performed, with grace, as I said, with dignity and with athletic excellence, one hell of a story.
I'll tell you also, I did not meet Jackie, of course, but I did meet Larry Doby. And Larry Doby started just weeks after Jackie did in the American League.
Right.
Now, the one thing that I think people always lose sight of is that everything was geared for Jackie to try at least to succeed at this experiment. The Dodgers had him in the minor leagues for a season so he could see how it would work in a minor league setting.
Right.
It was in Montreal, so of course it was done what was felt to be a little less hostile environment, at least to get started, to see how things would feel. Then he was brought the following season to play for the Dodgers. Shortly thereafter, within weeks, Larry Doby actually played for the Newark Eagles one day, played then for the Cleveland Indians that same day.
Oh, wow.
Okay. They didn't have a position for him, so they put him in a different position, put him in second base. He had not played second base.
Right.
So now he had to play that day with no fanfare. Nobody was really watching. Can you imagine what he had to go through?
My God.
Right behind him.
My God,
Weeks
what
after
dramatic.
Jackie.
That's goosebump stuff,
right.
man. That's goosebumps stuff.
And there are no movies about Larry Doby.
No.
Right.
There you go.
Right. Right. Carrie, take us on through Mama, I Want to Sing. I'll tell you what, because we're getting short on time, we can perhaps skip a little bit. But all of a sudden, Carrie Davis lands at HBO. And today, Carrie Davis sits in a position that determines, ultimately negotiates deals for some of the biggest sporting events and attractions frankly, in the world. I'd like to know, let's just talk about boxing for a second.
Sure.
You've been at HBO since 97?
Correct.
16 years now.
Yep.
If you had to choose one, what's the single most exciting boxing match that you've witnessed?
Wow, that's a hard one. That's a really hard one. Probably the most exciting match itself in terms of anticipation for it, for me, was Lewis and Tyson. Lennox Lewis versus Mike Tyson.
In Memphis.
In Memphis, yeah. I had never worked with Mike. Mike had already left HBO for Showtime before I'd gotten there. But obviously he was, he was the man of the sport. He was he was, if it's not the face of boxing, he was the guy who, a whole generation of people, associated with boxing. He was the last real heavyweight champion who was like the man. And Lennox Lewis, who was had an HBO contract and fought for us, really always wanted that opportunity to fight Mike and to show that he was the guy, and he was, and so it was probably 3 or 4 years in the making, trying to put that fight together with the competing networks, the competing promoters, and certainly when that fight happened in Memphis. After all of the things we went through to get there, that was probably one of the crowning achievements of my career, and it was really a fight that I looked forward to.
In terms of most skilled fighter, and I want both of you guys to weigh in on this because Jimmy Lee Solomon is involved now in the boxing business, amongst other things, in his post-baseball journey. Who's the best fighter ever lived, Kerry?
Ever lived?
Yes.
Well, again, this is a person I didn't see fight live. I was a little too young, but on tape, Sugar Ray Robinson was just a phenomenal boxer. And people usually associate his career as a middleweight, but he was probably the best welterweight that ever lived. And dominant. I mean, just a completely dominant athlete, big puncher. Move, defensive. I don't think there was anybody better than Sugar Ray. But I'm going to throw one caveat in. In terms of domination for a shorter period of time, I don't think I've ever seen anybody better than Roy Jones. For 4 or 5 years, Roy Jones fought, and not only did he dominate and win every fight, he went 5 years where he lost one round.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about that. He went 5 years and only lost one round in a 5-year period.
Now that's pretty dominant. That's Jimmy Lee, best fighter ever.
Yeah,
I've got to say Ali.
You want to say Ali?
I'm
okay.
Say Ali.
Here's what I want to ask both of you guys because we had a raging debate on Facebook this past week. Muhammad Ali in his prime. Mike Tyson in his prime. Jimmy Lee.
Ali.
Not close. Not close.
That was my feeling, but man, I'll tell you, and I think it was this generation that's in their 20s and 30s that thought that Mike Tyson was, so incredibly devastating, and he was. But in my estimation, what the feedback that I gave was that Ali would have that my feelings about Tyson is this: Tyson was a great fighter. Rounds 1 through 4. Rounds 5 through 8, he became good. He was a good fighter. And rounds 9 through 12, not necessarily what he was average. And that I think that Ali would have had the absolute foot speed, hand speed, ring generalship, brilliance to have toyed with Tyson. First of all, he would have gotten in his head. And I just think he would have boxed his ears off for a while. I think he would have stopped Tyson.
And and we didn't see Ali fight probably the 3 of his probably most prime years. We didn't see him fight.
That's right. Right. Before he went out, it was Zorro Foley, Ernie Terrell, and Cleveland Big Cat Williams. And the Ali that fought those particular fights and who I just think would have fought after, like you said, in those 3 years, I don't have any doubt that he would have taken care of Tyson.
No question.
Yeah. Kerry, how has HBO changed sports?
Well, I think HBO, one of the things that HBO was allowed to do as a premium cable network was really begin to tell the stories around sports. So it wasn't just putting on the big event, but also the backstory, the documentaries that we did, the real sports segments that we did surrounding the big events, if you will. We pride ourselves on being the best storytellers in sports, and that is certainly something that we're proud of. In terms of boxing, one of the things that we've done is being able to be the bank, if you will, for the biggest events in the sport. Certainly, HBO really created the pay-per-view as we know it. I mean, before HBO's pay-per-view division, it was really everyone, you had to go to the movie theater to watch boxing. It was primarily done on closed circuit. When growing up, Jimmy and I probably went to the theater to watch Sugar Ray Leonard or Sugar Ray versus Tommy Hearns, those kinds of fights. Well, it was HBO pay-per-view, which allowed you to sit in front of your television set at home. And the first pay-per-view event at home for us was George Foreman versus Evander Holyfield, and that, I think that was a real transcendent moment in terms of sports. But the primary thing that we really pride ourselves on is our ability to tell a story.
When you talk about tell a story, I know that Ross Greenberg is not there anymore, but he and Rick Bernstein have produced documentaries. I don't care if it was Billie Jean King, Bird, and Magic. In my estimation, those are some of the most riveting sports stories that have ever been told, and the excellence in which they've been done, is going to be hard to match.
No, it was one of the things that really attracted me to the network. Coming from theater, that was boxing provides a tremendous amount of drama. I mean that's the great thing about it. There's no it's not like basketball where there's 48 minutes on a clock, or football where there's 60 minutes, or baseball where there's 9 innings. It can end at any moment. It truly is the theater of the unexpected. So the high drama of boxing, again, that's one of the things we were attracted to. But what Ross and Rick were able to do is tell the stories behind those dramas.
Behind the scene, absolutely.
Behind the scenes drama. I mean, when you look at a show, one of the shows that I'm most proud of that's happened on my watch, 24/7. That was certainly something that came as a result, again, of us really wanting to get into the backstories of these athletes. I remember, Roy Jones always kids me for this, but the idea actually came from a Roy Jones video. When Roy fought John Ruiz for the heavyweight championship,
yes,
he and Nike did a video showing his training during camp.
Right.
And Roy came up and showed it to me. And one of the things, you get a kick out of this, he was training with a guy named Mackie Shilstone at the time.
We know him very well.
Right, exactly. And Mackie was a great nutritionist, and Roy wanted to have the ability to add on, 25 pounds of muscle in order to challenge for the heavyweight championship.
And maintain his quickness, right.
And maintain his speed.
Mm-hmm.
And so they showed a segment where Mackie and Roy are on the track, and what I didn't know about Mackie, because I just thought of him as a nutritionist, was that Mackie was also terrific with the athlete's mind.
Yes.
Right, and so he's running around the track, and he's right behind Roy, and he's talking to Roy, and he literally played out the first 6 rounds of the fight.
Mm-hmm.
And just telling, here's what's going to happen in round 1, here's what's going to happen in round 2, so on and so on. And then he said, in round 5, you're going to hurt him. You're going to hit him with a right hand, and you're going to hurt him. And Roy says, yes, I see it. And then he says, what are you going to do next, Roy? Roy says, I'm going to go in for the kill. He says, no, you're not. He says, why not? He says, because that's when he's going to be most dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
When he's wounded, that's when he'll be most dangerous and you'll be most vulnerable.
Right.
I want you to back off at that point, right? And then we'll get him again, right? So I'm watching the fight. about the 5th round, White hits Ruiz with a huge right hand.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
He's wobbled. He goes to the ropes. Right. And White literally goes in for the kill, and then he stops. Right?
He remembers that conversation.
Exactly. And he starts doing a little dance and a little shuffle. The crowd goes crazy, and I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Right? If we would have been able to show that video prior to the fight, right, everybody would now know what I knew.
Jimmy Lee Solomon, you are in the topsy-turvy world of boxing now, as I understand. Kerry just characterized it as the theater of the unexpected. Some have characterized it as the theater of the absurd. You've jumped in somewhat of a prominent way and have a heavyweight that you now are managing. What drew you to boxing?
Well, I've always loved boxing. My father actually took me to an Ali fight when Ali fought, when he lived in Houston, and actually fought Ernie Terrell.
Ernie Terrell, yeah.
And when I saw that,
Gene Terrell's brother from the Supremes.
I was taken. I was taken when I saw that. You know, Kerry and I have talked about it. It's kind of funny how Kerry and my life has intertwined so many different times.
Sure.
One, we go to college together, student athletes.
Right.
Then we both go and work in sports.
Let me ask you a question. Y'all were both student athletes at the same college.
Yes.
At the same time.
At the same time. I was a year ahead of him.
Who got the most girls?
Oh, Kerry, of course.
Oh, okay.
No, Jimmy for sure. No. Well, I'll tell you one thing. You know, he played football and I played basketball. So the advantage we had back then is we didn't have those baggy shorts. So we walk around. You know, we're basically walking around in our underwear. We're playing. And Jimmy had a mask on and helmets and stuff. So you know, I had a little advantage there.
Yeah, he did. But I went on to say, now I'm in boxing, of course. And Kerry and I have discussed my fighter. And hopefully we will have another intersection when my fighter fights on HBO, hopefully soon.
Hint, not so subtle hint.
But also, and Kerry's just talking about Mama, I Want to Sing. Yeah. You know they did a movie recently, and you know who played Mama, don't you?
Who played Mama was
Lynn Whitfield.
Lynn Whitfield, somebody that I know, and I think you know better.
Yeah, we dated for about 4 years.
I was going to say, you're still an eligible bachelor. You got to know her better than I did.
Let's hope so. I did date her.
I will say, while they were filming the movie, I did not bring Jimmy's name up. Let's make that clear.
You know what? I'm going to tell a story. I'm at the Bermuda Music Festival. The OJs are playing, and they're singing a song. They're singing this song very passionately. We're out on the beach. We're just right at the foot of the Atlantic Ocean, under the stars. It was nothing short of spectacular. I'm sitting one row, Lynn's sitting in the front row, and I'm sitting in the second row, and she's there with this gentleman who has kind of been parading around with his chest stuck out like, you know, I'm with Whitfield, so I'm the bomb, diggity, diggity, diggity. So they're singing that song, so I whisper in Lynn's ear. The song is, my body's here with you, but my mind is on the other side of town. So I whisper in her ear, and I said, Lynn, they talking about you right now and Jimmy Lee. She said, oh, Jimmy Lee. I still want to marry Jimmy Lee. I'm putting your stuff out there, boy. I still want to marry Jimmy Lee. So, man, it's been absolutely fantastic having you two guys on there. Can you believe we've already gotten to the end of the hour? There's a lot we didn't get to cover, and what that means is you both are going to have to come back on one more time.
Of course we will.
We'll look forward to it.
Yes,
Thank you guys so much. And, folks, that's another wrap for the Rock Newman Show on We Act Radio, 1480 AM and www.rocknewman Show. You can see it all around the world. See you next week on the radio. Same time, same place, Martin Luther King Avenue.